It is 10 a.m. Good morning from the Circus Sports at the Mint Kentucky Downs studio. I'm Lucas Panzica. The college baseball postseason is underway today. Tennessee gets started in the Chapel Hill Regional against East Carolina. First pitch is coming up at 11 a.m. Meanwhile, the Women's College World Series happening in Oklahoma City. The Lady Vols got started with a 6-3 win over Texas. They will face Texas Tech tomorrow at 2:30. NBA playoffs last night. The San Antonio Spurs forced a Game 7 in the Western Conference Finals. 118-91, the win over the Thunder. Victor Wembanyama, 28 points, 10 boards, and 3 blocks. Game 7 is tomorrow night in Oklahoma City, a 7 p.m. tip-off. Winner faces the Knicks in the NBA Finals. Stanley Cup playoffs. Game 5 of the Eastern Conference Finals is tonight in Raleigh. The Hurricanes lead the Canadians 3-1. Puck drop is at 7. Winner faces the Golden Knights in the Stanley Cup Final. For all your foundation repairs and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone. Good morning. Welcome in to 104.5 The Zone on this Friday. Happy to have you and much to discuss on this beautiful end to your week. Buck is not here. It's the way we like it. He is off at the Titans facility for another day of OTAs open to media. So Robert Saleh will step up to the podium a little later on in this hour. We will carry that for you coming up in hour 2 at 11:20. But there is much to discuss today as Trey Wallace will join us on his drive back from Destin to break down all the politics and discussions out of spring meetings with the SEC. We've got more offseason drama for Tennessee football. They simply cannot seem to avoid it here in the last few years. But maybe, most importantly, we've got 3 hours of tension ahead. We're fueled by Hattie B's Hot Chicken, the best hot chicken in the world. Download the Hattie B's app today. My favorite thing, one of my many favorite things about Hattie B's, you don't need sauce. You don't need to dunk your chicken in a sauce to mask how subpar the chicken is. Go to Hattie B's today, get some crispy, juicy, perfect hot chicken. But we do have 3 hours of tension here on the horizon. Hello, Robert.
Hello, Lucas.
How are you?
Better than I deserve. How are you?
I'm okay.
That's good.
How's this going to work today?
I don't really know. Because, one, I don't want to put our friendship in a trivial position where whether me and you are cordial to each other is based off a sports game. I don't want to do that. But also, I can't stand losing. I can't stand losing checkers. I can't stand losing an auction on eBay. And I damn sure can't stand losing to some stinking Vols. So I want you to know right now that I'm not going to let this bother me.
Oh, sure,
I'm not going to do what everybody thinks I'm going to do.
Sure, you're not. Sure.
But if it gets ugly early, you got Zach, and he going to do the rest of the show.
Okay.
And I'm going to go out and get a fresh pack of cigs and smoke about 3 at one time. Find me a thick rubber band and band them together. So just remember that while you're razzing and teasing and, oh, look how good our SEC school is, just know that I got feelings, and I'm a real person, and I wouldn't do that to you unless we dog walk y'all. And then I'm going to talk my talk.
So if things go haywire when Tennessee faces East Carolina today, coming up at 11 a.m. in the Chapel Hill Regional at the start of the college baseball postseason, if things go haywire within the first 2-3 innings, you'll be negligent of your big boss Bert duties, is what I'm hearing. You'll take your ball and you'll go home and you'll just dump your entire day of work into Zach's lap right there next to you in the control room.
That's correct. Yeah, my BBBDs will not be done today. The Big Boss Bert duties will not be done today if East Carolina fails to put on a competitive performance. I'm cool if they lose because they still got a chance, right? Even if you really ain't got a chance, they still got a chance to come back. It's not single elim, right?
Correct.
So they would go to the losers bracket. So I'm not going to go crazy today, but y'all don't want them to win. Yeah, I'm going to tell you right now, y'all don't want the Pirates to win because I'm going to be. Y'all think I was bad before? Y'all get tired of me talking about the Ravens. Oh, we don't like them purple birds. Y'all really not going to like them purple Pirates.
Okay, well, since you're such a big ECU baseball fan.
Huge, buddy.
As an ECU alum, give us the scouting report. What is Tennessee up against this morning / afternoon in your Pirates?
Yeah, well, they got a lot to overcome. It seems like everybody is saving their ace for the potential number 1 seed in North Carolina. I think it's y'all's number 2 against our number 2, and that's about all I got.
Oh, yeah, that's it.
We ain't that deep in pitching. I know we got one good guy, and I wish we'd put that one good guy on the mound today because this is really the only game that matters to me. They got some hitters. But it's a young team. I think ECU is dealing with the NIL era of not being big enough to be a big dog, but also being good enough to attract people, but maybe not necessarily land the big fish. So they're getting a lot of transfer portal pitchers, transfer portal players from smaller schools. I think our 3rd or 4th pitchers from Lenoir-Rhyne, like a lot of smaller school guys. So getting them to play up to the level that ECU is accustomed to has been something that Cliff Godwin, ECU's head coach, has talked about all season. It's not about the errors, it's not about the strikeouts or missing, it's about the want to. Getting these guys to play like they want to. And whenever a coach says that, that's obviously a big detriment because you never want a coach talking about effort because his whole job is to coach effort. So they really fired up in the AAC tournament. I'm hoping that fire continues. Hopefully Cliff has lit a fire underneath their ass and they're ready to play today, but we'll find out, right? What did Perry Saturn say in that one Perry Saturn was a great promo anytime, but he said, y'all, you may whoop my ass, but you're going to have to because I'm gonna kick and scratch and claw and dig my nails in, and I ain't going without a fight.
There's a question for you in the FNM Bang chat.
Is there?
YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and Twitch is where you can hang out, where you can participate. Eric asks, Bert, can you name one player?
Sure, of course I can. Of course I can name a player. What kind of thing you
Furiously
think this is?
Googling.
You think I can't name a player? Nick Parham is an infielder from Asheville. What you talking about? Dawson Neal, left-handed pitcher. He's a senior, 6'2", 200 pounds.
Henry Ford's bat is going to mow down that pitching staff.
You better stop it.
Like a Ford F-350.
You better stop it. The best thing y'all had went to San Francisco.
Cars.
The best thing y'all had went to San Francisco. That's all you need to know.
615-737-1045 is the number. If you want to chime in, if you actually know something about this Tennessee ECU baseball matchup in the Chapel Hill Regional that Bert and I clearly do not, and you want to educate us, if you want to talk some smack to Bert or to me, that's how you jump in. 615-737-1045. Meanwhile, we have playoff action. We have finals brewing as the Knicks are sitting and waiting for the winner of Game 7, as last night Victor Wembanyama put the Spurs on his back, put up 28 points, 10 boards, 3 blocks, 118-91, the final over Oklahoma City. Spurs ran away with it early, did not look back, and now we get a Game 7 in the Western Conference Finals between Spurs and Thunder in Oklahoma City at 7 p.m. on Saturday night. So, rinse and repeat. Who would you rather see move on to face the Knicks in the NBA Finals, Spurs or Thunder?
Are you asking me? Are we supposed to be cordial now?
No, now we're cordial. Actually, you know what? To be honest, I am more curious to hear Zach's opinion. Spurs or Thunder? Knick fan Zach, who would you rather face in the NBA Finals?
I would rather face the Spurs. I think their inexperience is something the Knicks could take advantage of, especially because if they do somehow win Game 7, they're going to be feeling like they already won the finals.
Okay. Fair enough. I do agree with that the Thunder moving on to the NBA Finals, it feels like it would come with a different context than the Spurs moving on to the NBA Finals, where it feels like that would be a massive step for this young basketball team and for Victor Wembanyama as he has the goal of being the face of this league, it feels like it would be a massive step. It would be really hard to look at the season as a disappointment for the San Antonio Spurs if they move on to the NBA Finals, even if they lose to the Knicks. Meanwhile, the Thunder, as defending champions, have been there and done that and have a level of experience in the NBA Finals that the Knicks obviously do not have, having not made an NBA Finals since the late 90s. So I agree with your logic there. Speaking of Oklahoma City, the greatest show on dirt, got off to a nice start earlier this week. Tennessee 6-3, the win over Texas. The Lady Vols pursuing their first women's college World Series title. They will face Texas Tech tomorrow afternoon at 2:30. And elsewhere, just some housekeeping stuff here to kick off the show. We got the chance to go out to Nissan Stadium yesterday for Coach Dave McGinnis's memorial service. And it was wonderful. It was great to hear Mike Keith. It was great to hear Jeff Fisher, Jonathan Hutton, Burke Nihill, Amy Adams Strunk speaking on behalf of Coach Mack. And the news of the day yesterday, Coach Dave McGinnis will be inducted into the Titans Ring of Honor this season, the final season at Nissan Stadium, where, of course, Coach Mack coached for several years under Jeff Fisher and where he wore a headset for Titans radio for 9 years alongside Mike Keith and Taylor Zarzer. Robert, I felt like it went about as good as it could have yesterday. I feel like the Titans did a great job in setting that up and honoring Mack properly and, again, doing the right thing in putting him into the Titans Ring of Honor.
It was so cool to hear. I mean, obviously, Jeff Fisher, Mike Keith, talking about their experience with Coach, but then someone who I wouldn't say had didn't have an extra reason to have a super big relationship with him. But then Burke Nihill got up and talked eloquently about what it meant to know him and that he thought, I had something special with Coach Mack. Like, I thought that it was a close relationship, that like something only he and I had.
Yeah, something unique, right.
But after his passing, he found out that he had that relationship with everybody. And it was cool getting to hear that from somebody who, in all reality, is really like more of a boss than a friend or someone that you would have a beer with. But hearing that from Burke was really cool. And them honoring Mack. Like, to talk about, I think the line Amy said was, he never played for the Titans. He never strapped on a helmet.
Yeah, he was never the head coach.
He's never the head coach, but his value was so immense that it would be hard to do him justice without making this a thing. So happy for Coach Mack, happy for his family. It was a beautiful ceremony yesterday. Happy to be involved.
Yeah, agree with that completely. It was a who's who of Titans legends, of people affiliated with the Bears, people affiliated with the Rams,
people
with
from
the Cardinals.
All over. Stephen Tulloch was there,
Yeah.
like Pro Bowlers, coaches,
People
college
from
coaches,
Snyder, Texas.
high school coaches, like people that he just passed by in his journey. Burke talked about the dash. Your start point and your end point and everything in the middle is your dash. All the people from his dash showed up. And that's just the quality of man Coach Mack was.
No doubt. And he belongs in the Titans Ring of Honor. That's where he will be. I wonder how many assistant coaches of a franchise are in a Ring of Honor in the NFL. It can't be that many. Truly, I don't know. I can't name one off the top of my head. And Coach Mack was so much more, right? He was ever present in the community. And obviously the impact he made on Titans radio was massive, was equal to, if not more, felt by the general public to the impact he had during his time as an assistant coach under Jeff Fisher. But I am curious how many teams have a former assistant coach that, like Amy said, was never the head coach, was never a player for that respective franchise, but still have them in the Ring of Honor because of the impact they made.
You would be tough to find some of those guys. I think the guys that are in a quick Google search are guys that inevitably became head coaches at that same team. So that was just killer yesterday, man. And I loved hearing the stories from Jeff Fisher about how much of a prankster Mack was and facilitating the pranks. Like those stories, it just tickled me to my core yesterday.
A great afternoon remembering Coach Mack out at Nissan Stadium. So, again, shout out to the Titans for doing that the right way and for honoring Coach Mack by putting him in the Ring of Honor heading into the 2026 season. Okay, speaking of the Titans, they will be on the practice field shortly. It's another day of OTAs. It's, if I'm not mistaken, only the second day where media can actually be there on the field taking in practice. Robert Saleh will speak. Select players will speak. That will happen after the show today. But players spoke last Thursday, I believe, was when you and I were in here and Buck was out at Titans practice. And Cam Ward stepped up to the podium. I thought he had some interesting things to say. We did not play any of that audio at any point throughout the course of this week. So we will play Cam Ward's press conference for you late last week after that day of OTAs. Coming up next on 104.5 The Zone. This is one of those bumps where you just feel bad talking. Just feel bad talking over Bobby Caldwell. Welcome back to the show. We will hear from Robert Saleh at some point in the next hour as he gets ready to step up to the podium. Titans back on the field, another day of OTAs, which they've been doing, but today only the second opportunity for Titans media to be out there. We are fueled by Hattie B's Hot Chicken. Buck is out at practice. Lucas and Bert with you until 1 o'clock. Our feud officially begins at 11 a.m. with first pitch being thrown between Tennessee and ECU in the Chapel Hill Regional.
Have we figured out a punishment?
Oh, yeah, no, we need to do that. So loser has to do what? How about this? Can we clear this? Winner doesn't have to show up to work on Monday. What do we think?
Why do you and Buck love to challenge my juice? Like, I don't have the juice to get you or me out of work on Monday. Like, it would still cost us a vacation day.
Show us the juice.
I can't just go to.
It's for the show. It's for the betterment of the show.
Hey, Paul, Allison, like, I know that we're really supposed to clear these things with you guys, but we did have a bet. So that's why Lucas isn't at work today. We can't do that.
I think any wagers that we place, I think the winner should have a day off work on Monday and should have an all-expenses-paid meal at the finest restaurant in Nashville. I don't understand the challenge here. You are Big Boss Bert. I was in your house just the other day, hiding those little coins everywhere so you could find them.
Finding them.
I saw that Big Boss nameplate, the beautiful ceramic nameplate that I bought you in Portugal.
Yes.
You're telling me Big Boss Bert can't facilitate a free day off for the winner of this bet for the betterment of the show. Higher stakes simply drives interest in this radio show. It's for the betterment of the show.
I think
I'm not understanding.
It would only hurt the show if you or I were off Monday. It would be less of a show if one of us wasn't on it.
Okay.
What if we Two Tone Blue in the chat says if If you lose to the Pirates, Lucas must walk down a wooden object into the Cumberland.
He wants me to walk the plank.
I like that. I
I'm not.
But what would I do? I would have to volunteer at a soup kitchen or something. Like it would
You
have to be
do some good in the community.
Yes. I'm cool
No,
with
that's
that.
a bad look.
Yeah. We can't ruin our street cred for volunteering at the homeless shelter.
It's a bad look to do that as a loser. I guess that would be a good thing, though. Loser has to go volunteer for. I just don't want, that's not a burden. We should be doing that anyway.
If ECU win, Bert gets to put you through a table, Buffalo Bills Mafia style.
How about this? How about
A flaming
the loser
table.
has to eat one entire tender
Easy.
of Hattie B's
Oh.
Shut the Cluck Up hot chicken, the highest level of heat that our wonderful friends at Hattie B's have to offer. Not at the end of the show like we've done in the past, but at the beginning of the show.
And just have to suffer through?
Yes.
Are you kidding me?
At 10 a.m. on Monday morning, the loser has to eat one entire Shut the Cluck Up tender and do the radio show.
Deal.
Deal?
I'm not scared.
Okay.
I'm not scared because I'm not going to lose.
This is our on-air handshake.
You're okay. Put your hand like we're gonna.
Okay.
Okay, we're touching.
All right. So this is happening. The
I feel
loser,
bad for you,
the
dude.
loser of this game
I
today.
feel bad for you, man. You just signed your ticket. You just punched your button, buddy.
Okay, there we go. The chat is loving it. Rob says he likes that idea. William says bet. Lonzo says bet. Darius says run it.
Let's run it.
Okay,
I ain't scared.
done deal.
If you're scared, say you're scared. That's
Tennessee
all.
versus East Carolina. First pitch at 11. Loser eats a whole tender of Shut the Cluck Up, Hattie B's hot chicken. And look, it's incredibly hot. It causes pain for those of you who like that.
It's not fun.
You can go to Hattie B's and you do not have to get the Shut the Cluck Up chicken. But the crazy thing about eating a Hattie B Shut the Cluck Up chicken is it's still so good. like there's the pain.
It's one of those things where you're like,
But you're like, oh man, but the flavor.
oh God, this is
This is the
delicious.
juiciest chicken I've ever had. As you're in tears and
So
sweating.
what's the fencing around this? Like no sauce, no dipping, just dry raw.
I think we should be able to dip it in ranch.
No. Oh, now you want ranch. Oh, for everyone in the listening audience, Lucas is a purist. Oh, ranch is the
I never-
lowest common
never have
denominator
said that.
sauce.
I've
no
never
one
said that.
likes ranch.
I've never said that.
It's for children.
I've never said
but
that.
But this same guy will just ketchup onto his plate.
I've never said that.
You have said that.
I've said it's overrated.
Okay, well,
Ranch
well
is
then,
overrated.
Okay, well then I'm making the here's my juice. Here's my Big Boss Bird juice.
Honey mustard is on the bottom of the totem pole of condiments.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't think any sauce is because they inherently add something. Like, if you were going to say, like, I don't like water as a condiment, I would agree with you because it does nothing. But, like, I don't like honey mustard. Well, you're probably weird, dude. I don't know what to tell you. I think no sauce, no milk, no water, at least for the first hour. Then after that, if you want to, like, stick your tongue in, like, a hummingbird, some ranch, that's fine. You can do that. But I think there should be punishment involved with losing. Not just eating, but no dipping.
Okay. No dipping. No dipping.
Okay.
Caps on the F&M Bank chat says, my first time at Hattie B's, I got the Shut the Cluck Up level because I like hot food, and I ate the 3 tenders and literally could not speak. I was okay, but temporarily it made me shut the cluck up.
Because talking makes it worse. Like, you think that you'd be able to like blow and it would help it? No, it doesn't. It's just adding like oxygen to the flame.
Yeah, it's bad.
It's
Water
tough.
can make it worse as well because it just like disperses it throughout your mouth.
Carries it through.
It just spreads the pain out. People think, because in the moment, water feels like it's cooling, it's nice, but no. If you actually want the relief, plain white bread or milk is the only answer.
Jordan Sims said, must be on live stream. Oh, yeah. It's going to be on the show.
Yeah, for sure.
We're not going to do this in private and be like, ha, 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 look at him eating this hot chicken in a dark closet.
Yeah.
We're going to do it right here.
Yeah. So
Because whenever ECU wins and Lucas eats this thing on Monday, I want everyone to see the look in his eyes when he thought that the Vols actually had a chance.
do we need to clear this? Do we need to clear this with anybody? Because we did
You're clearing it with me.
the hot chip challenge a few years ago.
Oh, yeah, and lawyers got upset.
And some folks were like, hey, maybe like make sure you check with us before. But that was different. Like the hot chip challenge, that people actually had like medical issues
Hospitalization,
from the hot chip. Like,
no one's ever been like sick from Hattie B's hot chicken.
No, they won't do that to
Yeah,
you.
I think we're good.
I think we're good.
I'll run it through the proper channels.
Okay. All right. There we go. Loser of ECU Tennessee has to eat one Shut the Cluck Up tender, 10 a.m., book it Monday morning. We'll see you there. Here is something from Doug Farrar, and I hope I'm pronouncing his name right. I feel like I should know how to properly pronounce Doug's name of Athlon Sports because he has, at times, Robert, I don't know if you're familiar with this, been a true villain of Titans fans on social media. If I'm not mistaken, I think it was Doug Farrar who called for Mike Vrabel's firing and for the Titans, I think it was to be basically ruled ineligible for the postseason or something like that during COVID when Titans players were seen practicing at Montgomery Bell Academy during that 2020 season. But maybe he makes up some of that grudge, some of the grudges Titans fans hold against him with this on Cam Ward, as he has a 3-question series with every NFL team on Athlon Sports. And with the Titans, he zooms in on Cam Ward, on what Cam Ward can do in year 2. And he points out that if you weren't watching the Titans specifically, you may have missed the maturation of 2025 first overall pick Cam Ward. He started off rough in his rookie season, as we know. From weeks 1 to 9, Cam Ward completed 170 of 295 passes for 1,760 yards, 5 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, and a passer rating of 72.1. But beginning in week 10 through week 18, Ward turned it around pretty decisively, he writes, completing 153 of 245 passes for 1,409 yards, 10 touchdowns, 1 interception, and a passer rating of 90. That is, by the way, a 62% completion percentage in weeks 10 through 18 for Cam Ward. Are you surprised, Robert, that those numbers look as good as they do through those last few games? 10 touchdowns to 1 pick, a passer rating of 90 in the second half of the year.
No. I mean, I think that kind of makes sense for the regular process of a rookie using time on task and getting experience as the season goes on. It's also one of the benefits of starting early for a rookie quarterback. We hear a whole lot about wait, let him grow into the system, give him a chance, don't throw him to the wolves too early. But the benefit of doing that is getting to see growth in year 1 that makes you optimistic for year 2. So not surprised. I would say pleasantly surprised. I'm glad that it came out that way because that gives us a little more optimism going into year 2.
And Doug Farrar says not bad for a guy who was facing some pretty tough defenses in the second half of the season. The Seahawks, the Niners, and the Chargers among them, with Alec Iomanner, Chig Okonkwo, and Chimere Dike as his primary receivers. So that's part of the discussion today. That specifically, with Iomanner, Dike, and Okonkwo. Of course, Iomanner and Dike are back in this wide receiver room, but they are nowhere close to being looked at as the primary options for Cam Ward, as the Titans' wide receiver position, according to ESPN, is one of the most improved position groups in the NFL. We'll get to that more specifically in the noon hour, but this is Cam Ward's first opportunity here during OTAs to work with a lot of these guys that are new, more specifically with Carnell Tate, the number 4 overall pick. So we got a chance to hear from Cam Ward yesterday after OTA practice, talking about being on the field with Carnell Tate, coming off of his shoulder injury in the regular season finale last year and heading into his second year as a pro and his first year playing for Robert Saleh. This was the Titans quarterback last Thursday.
It's been going great. Getting time with the receivers, learning the width and where I need to sit in the pocket for the O-line. So it's been good. Continue to learn the install with Coach Daves. Just trying to get better.
What do you like about Carnell early on? What do you like about Carnell early on?
It's great hands. Wins and man coverage. He's a strider. He's a guy who can create verse off, verse press. And he really doesn't drop nothing. So just got to continue to find ways to get him involved early, get him the ball, to continue working on our timing.
It doesn't seem like the shoulder had any bearing on you today. You consider that completely behind you?
Yeah. Just continue to work on it. Continue to get it stronger. Try to, lessen the injury fact, and then just try to, not have it happen again.
You look slimmer. Are you in a different kind of shape than you were this time last year?
I am. Trying to get a little bit leaner. Then just trying to stay, durable for a long season.
What are you doing different?
So what?
What are you doing different?
I just continue to watch my diet more, continue to have more cardio, continue to just work on my body, just, here and then when I'm away from the building.
What are some of the particular dietary changes that you've made? Like cut out fried foods, snacks, and what is it? Seed oils?
It's really just watching the calorie limit, then watching the amount of protein and carbs that I need to put in, then what's best for, my body, how I feel, eating different things when I come to practice.
Some things you may be focused on this offseason and how you feel like they're going so far in the early stage of this as far as you're trying to improve?
Just being slower in the pocket, not getting to the top of my drop as fast before the receiver even makes his decision, and just continue to feel the tackles set, not putting them in bad situations, then just continue to lead the football team.
How has your leadership style evolved since last season to now?
I think it just gets better every year. Learning new faces with the coaching staff, with the new guys we got on offense and defense, finding ways to motivate them, what gets them to tick if I can, and then just trying to, be a good teammate at the end of the day.
You mentioned Tate not dropping the ball. Wandale's another guy who doesn't have a reputation for dropping the ball at all. How much can the two of them help the group and help you in that area where you guys aren't going to give anything away, really?
I think they'll be able to help us a lot. Not only me, but the team. They'll be able to keep us on track. And then I think when we're in backed up situations, whether it's get back on track or behind the chains, they'll be able to get us, explosive plays. But I just got to do my job, getting on the ball, and the O-line got to do their job by helping us get on the ball.
Dave discussed being able to see the game from your eyes. He said that was the key to you guys being on the same page. How has that process gone, and what are your initial takes on him, his strong personality, along with yours kind of meshing?
He's a player's coach. He wants what's best for the team and the players. He's going to put us all in great situations. And he's had great offenses everywhere he's been, whether he's head coach or OC. So the biggest thing that I'm trying to do is get better and, see it from an offensive play caller standpoint and why he's calling this play. Whether it's first or second down, try to see where his mindset, but it's been going good so far.
Do you guys talk a lot about what he's done, last year with Jackson Dart, and obviously big picture with Josh Allen and improvements he made throughout his career?
Yeah, every day. Whether it's what they did in New York, with Josh in Buffalo, even when he was with Favre and Brady. So just a lot of things that he did right now and in the past, and just trying to mix it in to make us a good offense.
He's got a reputation for being pretty animated, pretty vocal in the headset. Just in your experience so far, just a couple of days of practice, what is it like receiving a play call from him?
I like it. He simplifies it. There's some long play calls still, but it's straight to the point. That's the type of coach he is, and he wants what's best for us.
What do you see from Wandale and Diggs?
Last year he said that he wanted you when he was, he tried to get you when he was the head coach of the Giants because he felt like you would be a really good fit in his system. Now that he's here, do you feel like that you're the right fit for his system in terms of what he wants to do, and how is it different from the system you were in last year?
I do think it's a perfect fit. He's going to put the ball in my hands as much as he needs to. He believes in not only myself, but the playmakers I have around me, the O-line to protect. And he's a guy who all he wants to do is win. He doesn't care whether we put up 50 a week or we score 21 a week. So he just wants to put the ball in the end zone, score a lot of points, and make it easy for the defense.
Cam, Amani was talking about how it seems like maybe you're recognizing the defense's coverage is a little faster. Do you feel like the game is maybe slowing down for you a bit, having that rookie year under your belt at this point?
I wouldn't think it's slowing down. I just think we're running faster plays to where I can control a lot of it. Then I get to see angles of guys where they're going. I just anticipate the throw.
How much weight you estimate you lost?
Right now, probably about 10.
10?
Yeah.
What has Wandale added to the wide receiver room, that veteran experience?
Explosiveness. An elite route runner in the intermediate and short game, but he's able to take the top off on downfield threats on whether it's slot fades or it can be double moves or anything. He can play outside and inside. Man, I think he's just a great teammate. He's come in. He's one of the guys who stays up after practice with me when he needs to. He's over. We hang out together all day, every day. But he's the right fit for that slot position. I'm just glad I get thrown the ball.
10 pounds, where will that help you most? And do you feel lighter, quicker out there as a result already?
I just think it'll help me with durability, being faster, getting up in the pocket, then just trying to play to my speed, not no one else's speed.
What should folks expect from you and your scenes in the Netflix show?
Great show from me and all the quarterbacks. But I think there'll be a chance to see, just a a little bit of my mindset, a little bit what I'm about, and what I'm willing to do to win football games.
We see you targeted Tate a lot today. Like, how much does establishing that idea, that understanding that you trust him and you believe that he's a top flight receiver, like how much do you feel that could help jumpstart what you guys need to be able to do to be successful?
Which receiver? Which receiver are you talking about? Tate?
Carnell Tate.
I just think he'll have an explosive year just because he'll get a lot of one-on-one matchups, and that's what we want. We want guys to come down and play man because we think we can beat them. And I think just him in this system, he's going to have a lot of field to have a lot of freelance within his routes, field space to sit down. And for a rookie coming in his position, I think this is one of the best offenses he could be in just because he's gonna get coached, but he's not going to get overcoached. He's going to still be able to play football how he sees it. He listens to the quarterback, and he's going to be a great target for me.
All right. That's Cam Ward speaking last Thursday after OTAs. So a few things there. Cam Ward, slimmer after the offseason, after healing from his shoulder injury, says he believes it'll make him quicker. It'll enable him to get up in the pocket a little bit quicker. You typically hear that the other way around, right? Quarterbacks put on good weight to be more durable, but for Cam Ward, it's about shedding some of that weight to be able to evade that pressure and maneuver around in the pocket more efficiently, which for him should lead to more durability. I thought that was interesting, and that's something that we haven't really touched on this offseason with Cam Ward.
It's all them seedles. As soon as them seedles got split out.
Just like that.
That's what I'm telling you. That's what I've been working on, honestly.
You've been getting rid of the seed oils in your house?
Out of here. I've been going to the vending machine, buying all the seed oil snacks. I've been getting them out of the cabinets.
Literally everything in that vending machine had to be made with seed oils, right?
See, I think if they let me do a little private detecting, I could probably go over there and find where they're hiding all them seed oils at. Because you think they just threw them away? You think it's like, oh, don't need this canola oil no more? Like, that's good. That's good fish frying grease. You don't need to get rid of that.
Robert Saleh is talking to the media as we speak. We will play that for you coming up at 11:20. And then there's Cam Ward's comments on Carnell Tate, that he believes Carnell Tate will have some freedom to freelance within his offense. He likes the start that they're off to and their on-field and off-field relationship. And if Carnell Tate, what is the number one thing that has to happen for Carnell Tate to have a breakout season and hit the ground running his rookie year and be the number one threat that he was drafted to be at number 4 overall? Like, if you had to pick one thing that absolutely has to happen for Carnell Tate to have a successful rookie season, where would you land?
And we're removing the obvious, like stay healthy.
Yes.
Or I would say for him and Cam to be on the same page. Like if they understand, and Cam said something interesting that someone smarter football people than I would need to tell me this, but he said, well, it's one of the things you're working on at OTAs. He said, making sure my receivers can get to their break before they have time to make their decision.
Yes.
So that to me makes it sound like they're running more option routes than it is strict routes. Like, oh, I'm going to run a crosser. Instead, you've got Wandale who has the ability to run options. So is he going to go? Is he going to break in? Is he going to break out? Someone smarter than me needs to decipher if I'm correct in my hypothesis there. But having him and Tate on the same page early would be huge. The same reason we talked about Cam Ward at the beginning of the segment being thrown to the wolves last year and being baptized by fire. I hope that they do the same thing with Tate. I hope that they do the same thing that happened to Jamar Chase and Malik Neighbors, where go look at their first few games. They were inundated with targets. They were fully built into the offense. I hope that week 1, they're ready to go, and there's no dwindling process of, okay, let's get him a little bit here and get him a little work. If he's going to be the one and he's going to be the guy, put him in that position and let him fail on the job. Let him make mistakes early so he can learn. Because he's not expected to be the A1 100% player that he was drafted to be this year, right? Like, no one's expecting him to be a top 15 receiver this year.
You're not expected to be the best version of yourself as a pro your rookie season. Yes,
right.
Like there is middle ground between having high expectations of the number 4 overall pick and expecting an all-pro caliber player the moment he steps foot on an NFL field.
So be willing to let him make mistakes. Let him learn on the job. Let him go through it with Cam. Let them, I'm going to say argue, but that's just Cam's competitive banter. Let them get into it. Let them figure it out. Where's the ends? Where's the outs? How does it work? Where do you go? Where do I go? Figure all that out. Get all the mush out. And then when the season starts, learn on the job.
615-737-1045 is how you jump in. You can also hop on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch on 1045 The Zone TV, where Greg in the F&M Bank chat says Carnell Tate getting open when plays break down would be a good start. So to your point of having that telepathic communication, being on the same page, understanding the tendencies Cam Ward is going to have when a play breaks down and leaning into those strengths, something that obviously Chiefs weapons have mastered in the Patrick Mahomes era. For me, I'm looking more at the success of the players in skill positions around Carnell Tate, setting him up for success. I saw this stat from Matt Harmon, who's been on the show of Reception Perception, Yahoo Sports. This was actually before the draft, way before the draft. This was in March that he put this out there. He basically put out Carnell Tate's 2026 NFL Draft Reception Perception Prospect Profile. And he writes, Carnell Tate's 77.3% success rate versus man coverage is the 7th best mark for a prospect since 2021. He also dropped 0 passes and posted an all-time contested catch rate. Harmon says if you're looking for a pure perimeter receiver in the draft, this is your man. So when I read that, I'm thinking about Calvin Ridley staying healthy. I'm thinking about Wan'Dale Robinson being a threat out of the slot and still having that sort of depth with Elikayo Manor and Chimere Dike. But most importantly, looking around at that starting wide receiver core at Calvin Ridley and Wan'Dale Robinson and saying, can they contribute to creating as many man coverage opportunities as possible for Carnell Tate, who had so much success with that at Ohio State? And everybody's biggest gripe, if anybody had a gripe against the pick, Robert, what was it?
It was too early.
Too early to take Carnell Tate.
Right.
Whether it was too early, whether he's not a receiver worthy of number 4 overall pick, or that he wasn't even the best receiver on his football team at Ohio State.
Right.
We heard that a ton with Jeremiah Smith. Carnell Tate, again, 77.3% success rate versus man coverage. Why did Carnell Tate get faced with so much man coverage during his time at Ohio State?
Because of the guy that's on the opposite side of the field.
Yes. And the year before that, it was that guy and Emeka Egbuka, who's gotten off to a nice start in his NFL career. So you could look at that and say, great, we drafted the second or at times third best wide receiver, although I would add that is an Ohio State roster that has, all 3 of those guys could be all pro caliber players in the NFL. But if you allow Carnell Tate to take advantage of those man coverage opportunities the way he was able to at Ohio State with the attention that has to be devoted to the likes of Jeremiah Smith, then obviously you open up so much for Carnell Tate to hit the ground running in his rookie year. So Calvin Ridley's health obviously is important to the success of this football team and to Cam Ward and for the Titans to have options, for the Titans to have separators at wide receiver. How frustrating was it last year, apart from Ridley's 1 to 2 impactful performances, whether he was dropping passes or out of the lineup, how frustrating was it to watch the Titans struggle to separate down the field and just desperately trying to find options for Cam Ward?
And just to set expectations, Carnell Tate is not a classic separator. I mean, as Cam said in the press conference we just listened to, he's a strider. Mm-hmm. He can run away from people, but I don't think he's necessarily going to create a lot of separations in his breaks being a longer receiver, being a taller receiver. But what his superpower is, he's got great hands. How many passes did he drop last year?
0.
None. He didn't drop a single pass. So for the fact that he doesn't really separate as well, it is a superpower, the fact that his hands do work that well. So I don't think he has to be this elite separator even in year 1 to prove his worth, or as the comment that it spurred this initial conversation, to let him get open down the field. I don't think he has to be open. I don't think he has to. I just think Cam has to throw a decent enough ball, and Carnell Tate's going to use what one of his elite traits is, which is his hands. I don't think that he has to get as open. That's for Chim. That's for Wan'Dale. That guys that are going to be running those option routes or those quick skirt routes. Like, I don't think that he needs to be this. Oh, and there goes Carnell Tate. Oh, he's done broke away. He separated so well in the middle of the field. I don't think he's going to be that guy.
Yeah, and I think it's easy to read that sort of success rate against man coverage and picture in your mind just that blinding speed that you're just pulling away from guys. Press man coverage, easy. I'll just run by him. But it doesn't have to be like that. Maybe it can be more, a la Jackson Smith and Jigba. You can have that sort of success. You can be beating man coverage by being a sure-handed route technician, the way Jackson Smith and Jigba has been so far in his NFL career and took him to the Offensive Player of the Year award this past year. So we'll see. We'll see if the Titans, there's just a lot of ifs, right? If Calvin Ridley can stay healthy, if Wan'Dale Robinson is a good fit in this offense, those to me are the first questions I have when I'm considering the opportunity for Carnell Tate to have that sort of immediate success and immediate connection with Cam Ward. If you get to week 6, week 7, and Carnell Tate is your biggest threat at receiver, whether due to availability issues or underperformance, then that's not a good sign. And teams are able to devote more to a rookie wide receiver, and it could slow your development. So that, to me, is the first thing that I think of.
I just saw a stat that made me mad at you all over again.
Well, the SEC stat of the day is next.
Nothing worse than a plumbing, HVAC, or electrical emergency. You don't know what it will cost or if it will get fixed correctly or if someone is just trying to sell you something. That's when you call Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical because they're going to solve your problems quickly. And, most importantly, the price you're told is the price you'll actually pay. No surprises or hidden fees when you get your bill like other companies do. Hiller has been in business as a family-owned and operated company for over 30 years. Their techs are vetted, trusted, and professional. And when you get assigned your tech for your visit, you will get a link to track them in real time and a picture of the tech so you can confirm who it is that will be showing up for your appointment. HappyHiller.com is where you go. The logo, the motto is happy you'll be, or the service is free. That's the Happy Hiller promise. So visit them online today at happyhiller.com.
All right, 11 minutes before this feud officially gets underway, before the mighty, mighty SEC swings its sword down on Robert's petty little Pirates in the Chapel Hill Regional.
Petty?
What do you got?
Petty?
I was going to say pathetic, but that felt harsh. I can't. My kind heart gets in my own way sometimes.
I know. I could never. If it was Indiana, I'd be able to go a balls to the wall. But I can't. I can't with you.
What do you have? You have a stat.
I have. College Baseball Reference on Twitter put this out. Tournament teams wins since 2020. Who do you think number one is?
In the college baseball postseason since 2020?
Yes. Total wins.
LSU.
Tennessee.
Okay.
310.
Didn't give the Vols enough credit.
Did not give the Vols. LSU's not even in this glom
really?
of teams. No.
I think multiple national titles since then.
It goes number 1 at Tennessee. Number 2 is Arkansas. Number 3 is Southern Miss. Number 4 is Texas. And number 5 is my East Carolina Pirates. So for all this, it's made out to be little brother, little squeaky Pirates. They're about to make a whole lot of noise today. And I just wanted you to know that even though you're number 1 in wins, we're on that ass. We are on that ass. And you better bring it today. How are we going to watch this game and do the show at the same time? We don't even have a TV in here. We can watch it.
Yeah, we don't. We're not allowed a TV in here. I've got my laptop, I guess.
We got grounded. Our mom took our TV away in the studios. Can't watch it.
Did you get a TV in your room when you were a
No.
kid? My parents would not let me have a TV in my room. I wanted one so bad.
When I got a TV, I was a sophomore in high school, and my mom bought me one of those big-ass cube TVs with a built-in VCR. And once I got that, dude, I was watching The Nutty Professor every night. She was like, I knew I should have never got you this TV. You're just watching for Janet Jackson. So, I would just watch all movies all night. I remember one night I had read Of Mice and Men, and I wanted to watch the movie. So I went to Blockbuster, rented Of Mice and Men, came back to my house, and was going to watch it. It was like 1 o'clock in the morning, and I'm sobbing as he's like, tell him about the rabbits, George.
It's a sad movie.
Dude, it is. And my mom busts in. She's like, if you can't handle a TV in your room, then I'll take it away.
She was mad at you for crying?
Yes, because I woke her up. I must have been in there sobbing uncontrollably. But she unplugged my TV, and as a sophomore in high school, I lost my room TV privileges after a month.
No. Yeah, I didn't even get one. All through high school. I didn't have a TV in my room till I got to college.
Well, you're going to wish you didn't have a TV to watch this game today, buddy. What's your stat? What's your SEC stat?
Well, there is a developing situation in Knoxville that is developing very, very poorly for the Vols. So the SEC stat of the day is about Tennessee's pass rush last year. Tennessee last season finished 4th in the Southeastern Conference total in quarterback sacks. The top 4 sackers for Tennessee last year are gone. They're out the door. Joshua Josephs, Caleb Herring, Tyree West, Dominic Bailey. Those 4 combined for 17.5 of those 37 total sacks last year. So, yes, Jordan Ross out the door as well. There has been a huge need all offseason for Tennessee to improve in that category, to replenish that room. And that was thought to be done by the addition of Chaz Coleman. But the latest reporting from Pete Nakos of On3 Sports is that Chaz Coleman, the heralded Penn State transfer, the 5-star portal prospect that Tennessee brought in that reportedly is set to make $3.5 million in NIL and reportedly is the highest paid player on Tennessee's roster. That Chaz Coleman, according to Nakos, has not arrived to Knoxville yet for summer workouts. And Nakos writes, quote, Coleman's status with the program moving forward is unclear. This is not a good development, and it should be said that we're talking about voluntary summer workouts, but this is something that started during spring ball, maybe about midway through spring practice. Chaz Coleman starts to no-show, and it's been very vague the entire time. So it must be said out of the gates, right, that you hope everything is okay with Chaz Coleman in his personal life. Clearly, these are off-field things, nothing legal that he's gotten into. He's not gotten into any sort of trouble, but we've heard such a variety of reporting on why Chaz Coleman has missed as much as he has missed, whether that's vertigo, just straight up being homesick for the Ohio native. A lot of things of that nature that have just made this the strangest, most nebulous situation. And Robert, you pointed this out the other day. Jim Knowles, not only Jim Knowles, but other members of this Tennessee defensive coaching staff worked around and coached Chaz Coleman during his true freshman year at Penn State last year. So assuredly, if there had been any red flags of this nature, Jim Knowles would not have signed off on Tennessee taking that swing to pursue and pay Chaz Coleman out of the transfer portal to come in and help his defense. But it's really hard to look at a path forward here, and you wonder what would have to change, and there's so much we don't know about the situation. But at some point, we have to turn to Tennessee's current stable and look at how the Vols can manage to manufacture a pass rush in 2026. Tennessee is deep in a lot of areas defensively in 2026. They address the defensive backfield in a big way. They're deep at corner and at safety. They're deep at linebacker, as deep as they've been in a long time. You'd like to have some more options up front on the defensive line, and you most certainly need more options with Chaz Coleman just not being a part of the proceedings right now in Knoxville. So that is of major concern. We saw Pete Nakos tweet this out a couple of days ago. He has reiterated it, that as of today, Chaz Coleman still has not arrived in Knoxville for summer workouts. Now, Brent Hubbs of VolQuest was on with Ramon and Will earlier this morning and shed some light in terms of what he can share about the situation, and we will hear from Brent Hubbs and what he had to say coming up next on 104.5 The Zone. 10:59, good morning from the Circus Sports at the Mint Kentucky Downs 104.5 The Zone studio. I'm Lucas Panzica. The college baseball postseason is underway today. Tennessee getting started in the Chapel Hill Regional against ECU. First pitch is happening in moments. Meanwhile, in the Women's College World Series in Oklahoma City, the Lady Vols got started with a 6-3 win over Texas. They will face Texas Tech tomorrow at 2:30 in the winner's bracket. NBA playoffs last night, the Spurs forced a Game 7 in the Western Conference Finals, 118-91 the win over the Oklahoma City Thunder. Victor Wembanyama with 28 points, 10 rebounds, and 3 blocks. Game 7 happening tomorrow night in OKC, a 7 p.m. tip-off. Winner faces the Knicks in the NBA Finals. Stanley Cup playoffs, Game 5 of the Eastern Conference Finals tonight in Raleigh. The Hurricanes lead the Canadiens 3-1. Puck drop at 7. The winner faces the Golden Knights in the Stanley Cup Final. For all your foundation repairs and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone. Rinse and repeat, there is a trend starting to take place in Knoxville that is not favorable or encouraging to Tennessee fans. Drama cannot be escaped, it would seem, for Josh Heupel's program, as now in each of the last 2 off seasons, there have been multiple instances of off-season drama, whether that's players leaving via the portal in dramatic fashion, whether that's players straight up leaving the program, being MIA for long stretches of the offseason. It, of course, goes back to the Nico Iamaleava saga in spring of 2025. And we all know how that started and how that ended. We don't need to rehash how that went. But it continued on in the summer of 2025 with the Boo Carter situation, where Boo Carter was clearly having issues at practice. He was having issues with teammates. He was not showing up. He clearly was not giving what his teammates were giving to the program. And then at some point, Boo Carter went off to California, was MIA for weeks, and nobody really knew what his status was with the program. He eventually came back. He got on the field for Tennessee some last season. And before the season ended, we knew Boo Carter was hitting the transfer portal. He was gone off to Colorado, where his family essentially stated is where he wanted to be the whole time, playing for Coach Prime. And now here we are in the summer of 2026. And I don't want to call it a Boo Carter-esque situation with Chaz Coleman because we don't know. We don't know the reasoning behind this stuff. Truly, we don't know a lot of the reasoning behind the Boo Carter stuff. Outside looking in, you point to immaturity. I don't know. Not connecting with your teammates. Again, we're not in these situations. We're not in these rooms. So it's hard to pinpoint what exactly is happening with Chaz Coleman, the prized edge rusher transfer from Penn State that, to be honest, Tennessee's pass rush felt like it was going to kind of revolve around in 2026 with Jim Knowles as the defensive coordinator. And Pete Nakos of On3 Sports is reporting Chaz Coleman still is not in attendance during summer workouts. He missed a big portion of spring practice. Everybody wants to know what in the world is going on with Chaz Coleman. So Brent Hubbs of VolQuest was on with Ramon and Will this morning, and here's what he had to say.
Everybody's on campus except for Chaz Coleman, and I don't think there's any timeline or any timetable or anything like that for Chaz Coleman to return to campus at this point in time. Now, we'll see. I think in this day and age, we don't know what all the personal issues are, okay? So I don't think it's fair to speculate on what all he's dealing with. But it doesn't matter if you're in a workplace and it's your employee. It doesn't matter if you're, it's a regular student at a high school or in a college, or if it's a student athlete or whatever it is. If there's any kind of concern regarding anything with mental health, which could certainly fall under the category of personal issues, then, everybody is going to do everything they can in those situations, and you want to make sure that you've done everything you can to try to help someone if they're dealing with those things. And so I don't think that there's an immediate response from Josh Heupel here at this point. But, I mean, at the end of the day, if Chaz Coleman is to ever be a part of Tennessee football, he's got to get to campus. And just getting to campus is not good enough. He's got to get to campus. He's got to get in the weight room. He's got to get with his teammates. And with each passing day that he doesn't do that, it seems more and more unlikely that he'll ever do that at this point. So, we'll see. Josh Heupel made it clear in Destin, Florida, when he spoke with Pete Nakos of On3, and in my conversations with Josh Heupel about this story the last few months is they're trying to support him every way that they can, but the rubber does meet the road at some point, and he can't roll in here and 2 weeks or 3 weeks or a month and say, hey, I'm back, I'm doing this. I mean, he's got to come be a part of the team. Right. And he's really just not been a part of the team since the first week and a half of spring practice. And obviously the rest of the team is moving on and getting themselves ready for this fall.
So there you go. That's Brent Hubbs of VolQuest talking about the nebulous, strange, off-field drama right now happening with Chaz Coleman in Tennessee. You said you had something for me?
I did have something for you. How big of an issue is this everywhere else in the SEC? Like, we're hyper-focused on Tennessee and being like, oh, why can't they get this right? They always have a headache over money or maturity issues, or somebody don't want to play for them anymore. There's always an issue with this. Doesn't this happen to everybody? Like, this isn't just a problem that's exclusive to Tennessee or this situation.
Yeah, and that's something that I'd love to talk to Trey Wallace about. Again, Trey will join us at 12:20. He'll be driving back up from Destin, where SEC spring meetings have taken place. A lot to get to with that conversation. Some political stuff having to do with the future of college football. And, Trey, who covers college football and the SEC as a whole, I think could be a unique perspective on that, because you're right. And that is my number one question with this situation and with the last few situations that we've seen now for Tennessee. Because, Robert, I'm getting deja vu here. Brent Hubbs saying Chaz Coleman, of course, has to get back on campus. That's the first step, but that's not good enough. You can't just show up, say, all right, I'm back. Let's go. Let's roll. You have to earn that trust back with your teammates. That's what we were doing with Boo Carter last year. It was the same discussion. Boo Carter, yes, has to make his way back to campus. He has to make his way back onto the practice field. He also has to earn the trust of his teammates. And Boo Carter did end up getting back on campus. He ended up getting up in front of the team and apologizing to the team. Josh Heupel had to consult the leadership council of that football team on whether or not they wanted Boo Carter back. And now here we are. It's like it's the same situation. So it's a great question by you. I don't know if it's because we are so hyper-focused on Tennessee football that it feels like the Vols are the only ones dealing with this sort of thing. I think they may be. I follow this sport, obviously, not as closely as I'm following the ins and outs of what's happening during spring ball and summer workouts in Knoxville. But Chaz Coleman is a high-profile player. Chaz Coleman was one of the highest-rated portal prospects in the transfer portal class of this past cycle, right? Nico Iamaleava, obviously, was a high-profile player that made huge news. Boo Carter, a little bit less so, but still a situation that fell under that same category. I don't know of any other big programs in the country that have had situations as high profile and highly publicized as Tennessee has had with Nico and Chaz Coleman. And it's hard to point fault anywhere, right? It's hard to sit here and say, man, Josh Heupel's got to get a grip of this program. Like, what is Josh Heupel supposed to do about Nico Iamaleava and what he's surrounded by with his dad and the bad advice that he's getting, right? I don't know what Josh Heupel could have done better in the Boo Carter situation. I have no idea.
All of that strikes me as a you can lead to horse to water, but you can't make it drink situation.
Right. But at the same time, it just keeps happening. And at some point, it's a disturbing trend for Tennessee fans.
And that's the problem is I think it's going to keep happening. We talked yesterday, like, how do you fix this? I mean, but there are so many things that have to be fixed before we even get to contracts or things that say, no, you will either play for this or you won't, which is another question it brings up for me. Someone in the chat said, doesn't his NIL money now get voided? Who knows? Who knows? Who knows if they're going to just be out that the reported $3.5 million sum that he was paid in NIL? You don't know.
Well, you're right. We don't know what the details of that situation are. I mean, this is 1099 stuff that we're talking about. Obviously, these are not contracts. These student athletes, famously, are not being treated as employees of the university. But what I feel confident in is that Chaz Coleman didn't walk in and get a $3.5 million check, right? Like that's not how that happens. I mean, Nico's deal was staggered in a certain way. Nico signed, what was the total money? An $8 million deal at Tennessee. He didn't get every penny of that $8 million. Once he left, it's kind of scrapped. Now, ultimately, the money that you sunk into that player can be seen as a sunk cost. And I don't know how much money Tennessee has already sunk into Chaz Coleman at this point.
Or the loss of other talent that is now invested elsewhere. Like if you wouldn't have put that money into him, or because of the Jim Knowles experience, of his experience with him, if you wouldn't have invested money in him, who else could you have invested that money into? It's also the loss of talent on the outside. So all this is just, it's tough, man, because when you look at it from the outside, it's like, oh, yeah, there should definitely be something done. Somebody should definitely get a hold of this. But what do you do? The offseason transfer portal stuff is so fast and furious, and I'm sure everyone feels like they're trying to capture lightning in a bottle. Oh, we got this offer from this guy. We got to move fast. Oh, we got to move. So there's not really a lot of time to get to know these people. That's why I thought this would be a good investment, because of the knowledge that Jim Knowles has about him from Penn State. But again, the process is too quick. You don't get to really meet these guys. You kind of just get to see what you know on tape and get a bunch of hearsay from janitors and custodians and whoever else the hell knows them in the programs. But it's just the plight of the transfer portal. You roll the dice, and sometimes you get a 7 on the first roll. And sometimes you roll a little bit, and then you get a 7 and you crap out. It's just how it goes.
No, but you brought that up the other week, and I have been thinking about that since you said it, that if there was anything there with Chaz Coleman at Penn State, it stands to reason that Jim Knowles would be a voice in the room to say, listen, this guy, great talent. I don't know if this is the type of player and personality that we want to sink this kind of commitment into. But that never happened. They brought in Chaz Coleman, who played for Jim Knowles at Penn State. So it's all so perplexing. And the question I have for Tennessee fans, and we'll put it to a poll at Lucas Panzica is where you can vote, is how much of this do you place on Josh Heupel now that it's become somewhat of a trend over the past, let's say, year and a half, but 3 different instances in the span of a year and a half? 615-737-1045 is how you jump in. We are also on 1045 The Zone TV. Theoretically, on the F&M Bank chat, a.k.a. our buddy Jay, says, VolQuest is reporting that Chaz Coleman has only made about $20,000 to $25,000 of the $2 million he's owed this year.
So you're really losing opportunity cost. You lost out on other pass rushing or really any prospects.
Correct.
Because you invested time and resources into this player. So you're not really out the bag that he was reported to get.
Yep. And if you're Chaz Coleman, you're just throwing away a couple $1 million if this continues? Like, is that what's happening here? If Chaz Coleman just doesn't want to play football for Tennessee, he doesn't have any recourse here. There's no post-spring transfer portal. If there was, it would have been closed by now. But there isn't one. He has nowhere to go until the regular season is over. So if he just doesn't want to play football for the Vols, I don't know if that's the case. Nobody knows what the case is here. But I think there's an element of this where football fans look at it and are just perplexed by it, where you say, are you just leaving that on the table? Like, is what you're dealing with so extreme? And again, you want to be delicate because these are personal situations and we don't know. But is it so extreme that you will leave millions of dollars on the table? Jay also says in the F&M Bank chat that it's a red flag for Heupel. One is a coincidence, but this is multiple times now. Two-Tone Blues on Twitter, or on YouTube, I should say, says, I don't blame Heupel. It's just sort of an odd coincidence.
I think
so that's the question. Coincidence or trend?
If you're going case by case, I think it is because the previous 2 that we know at least more of the details than we do with Chaz, it seems like they had bad counsel outside of Tennessee.
Yeah.
Right? Nico's family thought he was worth more money. He thought they should hold him up. Boo thought that he should be a 2-way player and get a lot more play, and he was better than he was.
Well, let's break it down then case by case, right? Nico Iamaleava, what was the consensus around how Josh Heupel handled that? on Nico's exit.
He was very pro-team. He was like, if you don't want to be here, then that's okay, but we're going to continue with camp.
He was praised for it, right?
Yes.
Players rallied around Heupel after that. College football media rallied around Josh Heupel, praising Heupel for not being held hostage by a player in his camp, a.k.a. his family. So you look back at that Nico situation and you say, okay, what could Tennessee have done differently? And maybe there are things Tennessee could have done differently. Maybe Tennessee could have, maybe negotiated in good faith a little bit earlier, like Nico Iamaleava and his family wanted to. Maybe they could have tried to nip it in the bud a little bit early. Maybe it festered. Maybe Tennessee could have done something to prevent the Nico situation from festering to the point where it blew up at the end of that spring practice. But ultimately, Josh Heupel was viewed in a more favorable light. It was a weird thing because when the Nico stuff went down, nobody looked at that and said, well, Tennessee is a better football team without Nico Iamaleava. But everybody looked at that and said, I think I have more respect for Josh Heupel today than I did yesterday because of the way he handled this. And then to your point, the Boo Carter thing.
He's always been that way, though, right? I mean, that's kind of what you get with Josh Heupel. He's kind of that, like, the calming presence. He is the weighted blanket for where things could have fallen apart last year. It could have been a huge egg on everyone's face. Hey, you weren't ready. You didn't have a backup. You didn't have somebody that you were willing to play, but they got Joey. He dug him out. And it might not have been the most successful season, but it was a lot better than it could have been. If you were to say, how many SEC teams could lose their starting quarterback in the offseason and then still pull out a bowl-caliber season?
Jay in the chat points out the James Pierce situation, too. We just need to be sending Jay checks at this point. He's straight up just driving this conversation forward. He says, also the James Pierce situation, does Heupel deserve credit for keeping James Pierce in line? And for the most part, productive, to the point where he was a first-round draft pick. And then we learned there were all sorts of things behind the scenes with James Pierce Jr. at Tennessee that never got out to the public. And that has carried over in a very unfortunate way in the NFL, where he finds himself in a legal mess that somehow he is, wiggling out of, and seems like he's going to play this season for the Falcons and suffer no penalty. But there's the other part of this, where how many of these sort of situations do we not know about? Because Tennessee was able to contain them and keep them in-house to the tune of said player eventually contributing to the team. I don't know, man. This whole thing is so weird, and I don't know where to fall on it. It's so easy to sit and say, yeah, at some point this is a red flag on Josh Heupel. Not a lot of other coaches, not a lot of situations this high profile that are happening around the country this often in a 1.5-year span. But then you also have to ask yourself, what can Tennessee be doing differently then? And I have no earthly idea what Tennessee could be doing differently with Chaz Coleman. He's coming here. He's playing not only with coaches that he's worked under already at Penn State, but with teammates that he's played with at Penn State. And he's surrounded by a linebacker and a D lineman that he played with at Penn State. So he has familiar faces here. He got top of market money. He's the highest paid player on the roster, and he's going to play a big role for this team. Maybe there's something granular there on a more personal side that was mishandled, but it's straight up impossible to see from the outside. And that's kind of what makes this so infuriating for Tennessee fans. Brent asks on YouTube, why did he originally leave Penn State? You look at that and you say, same reason why any player would leave Penn State after their head coach gets fired and James Franklin and Matt Campbell is coming in, and there's just an overhaul, which there seems to be each and every time there's a coaching change at the power conference level.
I don't live in the rumor mill or on the dirt sheets or whatever kids call them on the internet nowadays, but I've seen multiple people reference this in the F&M Bank chat, and I want you to tell me if there's any validity to this. Why does everyone keep referencing that he wants to play for Ohio State?
He's from there. Ohio State has pursued him heavily in the past, went to Warren G. Harding High School in the middle of Ohio.
But there is no path for him to do that.
Not before the season, no.
So
not
he would
until
have
2027.
Okay. So he has no outlet to do that. So if he didn't want to play for Tennessee, he just shouldn't have signed it on the line that was dotted.
Again, that's what makes this whole thing, and it was the same with Boo Carter last year, so confusing, where you want to sit down and say, what's the end game here for Chaz Coleman? What's the goal? Is this legitimately something off the field that's holding him back, that's weighing him down, or is this trying to get out of his current situation? We have no idea, but there is no getting out of his current situation. There isn't. He could just shut it down and forfeit a couple $1 million this year and then hope Ohio State wants him after the regular season. But thing's weird, man. Whole thing has been so weird from the moment it started in the first third, let's say, of spring practice.
We are through one in Chapel Hill.
Okay.
Still tied up 0-0. Pirates are up to bat, top of the second.
Okay. How you feeling?
I did not like that you sat us down very succinctly.
Yeah.
But then it was kind of on the back end. They got them out quick too. So hopefully they keep rolling. Our bats can start going, and you guys can just have a bunch of holes in yours.
Holes in the bats, huh? Is that how you guys win down there?
How we win what? Cheating?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. If you ain't cheating, you ain't trying, baby.
Who's pitching for the Vols today? I'm not even. Evan Blanco, if you think for a second that you're going to find anything against Evan Blanco, Blanco is going to blank your petty little Pirates.
Oh, that's not true.
As long as he's on that bump today.
That's not true.
You're delusional.
Let me find out who's pitching for the Pirates really quick. I have no idea. Hopefully they just get some hits.
It's Ryan Towers.
Yeah, he's going to tower above the competition, dude. If we're using name puns. I like baseball in these moments when there's a storyline, but I'm going to be really honest with you. If there's not a rooting vested interest, I don't care. I really don't care.
Oh, but there is.
But there is now, because Monday, the loser of this game is going to have to eat a Hattie B's shut the cluck up tender at the beginning of the show and suffer through the rest of it.
An entire tender. Not a bite.
Not a little nibble.
Okay, scoreless after one. Robert Saleh met with Titans media earlier today as the Titans are on the practice field for OTAs. We will hear from the head coach coming up next. Titans are on the practice field. OTAs are in session, and head coach Robert Saleh stepped up to the podium about an hour ago to chat with the media on hand. And this is what the Titans head coach had to say.
So early, what are you wanting to see from the offensive line as they work with Carmen during this period of the off-season program?
Really, it's more understanding the scheme, getting the reps in. We're not going to see anything physically. We're not going to see anything. We'll see some athletic movements through individual and all that stuff, but the O-line and D-line are tempoed down significantly once we go to 11 and 11. So it's really, again, it goes to the cognitive part of football. One, can they learn it in the classroom? And two, can they execute it on the football field?
How much is Nick Singleton able to do right now? Have you guys cleared him? Or?
Yeah, he's progressing into team reps today, just a couple of them, but he's progressing really well.
You've talked so much about the defensive line, rotation and wave, and 60-40, I think you talked about. How do you convince those guys that that's what's best? How do you convince Jeff, who's used to playing a lot more than that, that that's going to be the payoff and that he might be watching some big downs instead of participating in it?
Well, that's you hit it on the last one. That's the important part. The reason why we rotate so much is so our horses can rush the passer when it's time to rush the passer. So if Jeffrey is too tired to rush on third down, then our D-line coaches have a problem. So the objective is to make sure guys like Jeffrey, John, Jermaine, Jacob, Femi are as fresh as heck when it comes down to third down in 2 minutes so we can go get after the quarterback.
I'm sure you've studied, like, what's the max plays where a guy then starts to have diminishing returns?
With the way we play and the demands that we have on the D-line, if you can go 4 plays in a row, you're not doing it right.
When it comes to Anthony Hill, how much teach tape are you showing him of previous linebackers you've coached before, Fred Warner, Bobby Wagner?
It's all in the teach tapes. You know, we have such a banked history of tape, and we have all these cut-ups, and so all of them are seeing it, whether the entire linebacker room sees everything from Bobby Wagner, Paul Posluszny when we were over at Jacksonville, and Fred, and then even C.J. Mosley and Quincy when we were at the Jets. So there's a lot of tape. There's a lot of really good linebacker play that we've had over the course of the last 15 or so years, and so hopefully they're getting something out of it.
Your philosophy of kind of slow playing the rookies in, when do you see, or what does it take for you to see, okay, they're ready to graduate into a little bit more responsibility?
Well, one, they're behind physically just because of the, like we've talked about with regards to the off-season program for them, but they're getting a lot of reps. Our philosophy here is a little bit different than I can't speak for other teams. I know here we split all the reps evenly, so they're still getting the same amount of reps as the ones. They may not be rotating with the ones, but all of our reps are evenly spread out, so we can get a good evaluation on everybody.
How's Cam handle? I guess OTA number 6 today. How's Cam kind of handled the ups and downs of offseason so far?
Oh, he's been good, man. He's what's cool about him? He kind of has a I don't want to say I can give to attitude, but he moves on to the next play. If he makes a mistake, if something doesn't go his way, it's completely out of his mind, and he's on to the next play, and which I think is a major requirement for any athlete, but something he clearly has.
How much can Kevin Winston benefit from just focusing in on playing deep safety rather than having to learn the big nickel and the deep safety?
No, I think that's true for all players. We talk about you need to have the ability to be versatile. Every player does in terms of being able to play multiple spots, but I just think it's so important during OTAs in the early part of training camp that we allow these guys to focus in on one position so they can find a way to. They're all competing. They're competing to make a roster. They're competing to make to start, and we have plenty of time to start shifting over to dual teaching. But right now, it's about giving guys an opportunity to show what they can do in certain spots and give them a chance to make this roster.
Where are you big picture with the option routes now? And is that something that takes some time if guys aren't that familiar with them? Is it a matter of Cam and the receiver reading the same thing at the same time? And is that an easy thing to get wrong early?
Yeah, it's you've got to see it the same. You're 100% right, because sometimes it's not just based off leverage; it's based off coverage. But and it does take a lot of reps. And it also takes a little bit of extra time because the quarterback might have to hold it for an extra hitch. But overall, anything that we can do to get guys open, obviously, if we can execute those concepts at a high level, you're at a tremendous advantage offensively, and if you can bank a lot of reps, it's advantageous.
How are you at that so far?
We're at the early stages. So.
With your defensive ends, do you like a left and a right, or do those guys have to just flip-flop all?
They'll be flip-flopping, and you'll see a lot of left and right, but you'll see it where one of the DNs wants to take advantage of a mismatch on one side of the ball, and so he'll go on over and they'll switch just to try to change it up. But for the most part, we're left and right, but they'll also flip.
I'm sure it's dependent on which kind of player you're talking about, but do you just give guys the freedom in game to make those kind of decisions? Like, hey, I'd like to take this matchup?
Yeah, it's constant communication with the D-line in terms of getting guys opportunities to go win one-on-ones. We don't care how they come as long as they come.
From what you've seen on film, Robert, of Tony Pollard the last couple of years, maybe what you've learned over the last couple of weeks in talking to him, why do you think he's been so effective?
Well, I got the front sideline view last year. Like I said, he put 100 on us, but he's an unbelievable pro. Does everything the right way, brings a lot of juice and energy. He's a positive individual. Feel like he's in here all the time, getting regen, working on his body, doing things the way he needs, doing the things he needs to do to get himself ready. And then his practice habits are second to none, and how deliberate he is. And I'm not just talking about live reps, but if you guys get a chance to watch walkthrough today, I mean, every single step he takes is deliberate in terms of the pad level, the hand placement, the eyes, to make sure that he's executing at a high level. And those are the reasons why he's so successful.
We want to talk about the center and guard competitions, obviously, because those are starting roles. But where do you see the race as far as swing tackle right now?
I won't have an answer for you for that until give me mid-training camp.
What kind of challenge was it for defensive coaches as the kind of resurgence in 2 tight and maybe 3 tight, led by the Rams? What kind of challenge was that for defensive coaches, and might you be looking for Brian to toy with some of that?
Yeah, no, it is a challenge. These tight ends are getting really, really athletic, and so you're forced to kind of go base, which puts you at a disadvantage because of how athletic they are. Then you want to go nickel, and then you're at a disadvantage in the run game. So it's from a 13 personnel, even 12 personnel standpoint. So which is why the big nickel role has gotten so big. So it is a challenge, but it's not anything that's detrimental.
Something you'd like to employ offensively?
Dave's is multiple in terms of his personnel groupings, and with Dave's and just talking to him, he's always going to put us in a position where he feels that whatever personnel group he feels is needed at that particular moment.
Gilbert Falk, how big is the challenge for him at 6'6" to use that length, but also have the leverage to stay low?
Yeah, that's the leverage part. The length part's easy. The leverage part and creating leverage and getting underneath pads and creating a good base so he can get that knockback, that's always going to be the challenge. That's what kind of stinks about OTAs is you're unpadded, so you can't really work on pad level. But he's got a lot of work to do, but he's definitely got it in him.
I know the owners may expressed an interest in joint practices. Now the schedule's out. You still have hopes that maybe that could happen with 2-3 of those teams? Or?
Yeah, the goal, we haven't ironed out the full details yet, but the goal is to inter-squad with all 3 teams.
Last one.
Random internet debate. If you could turn off one for a whole season, would you rather turn off injuries or turnovers?
Turnovers.
Is it close? Any reason why? Maybe?
Turnovers to me is the number one indicator to wins and losses in all of football through the history of time. San Francisco last year, we were one of the most injured teams. We still won 13. But if you don't turn the ball over, you're probably going to win a lot of football games.
Okay. It's an interesting question to close it out from Austin Stanley of A to Z Sports. If you could turn off one for a whole season, he asks Titans head coach Robert Saleh, would you turn off injuries or turnovers?
I got in a debate with this with Zach yesterday because in my mind, the answer is easily turnovers.
It was for Saleh.
Easily, because like the statistic is like you win 78% of the games you win when you win the turnover battle. Now, Zach's argument was Tennessee Titans centric. Because what has killed the Titans has been the injuries. If Derrick Henry wouldn't have went down that season, if he cited a bunch of different injuries that impacted it. What turnovers doesn't also classify is turnover on downs. So if you're going for it every 4th down, you're going to score every drive. So I don't think it includes 4th down turnovers. Also, it doesn't sacks would still impact you. So you could have no turnovers and then just never convert a 3rd down was Zach's argument, but for no injuries. If you have no injuries, you have your full-fledged team year-round. But I think the argument can be different team to team. But my argument would not change for the Ravens. I would not turn off, and he was like, even with Lamar Jackson? Even with your team being dismantled by injuries at times, I would still take the no turnovers. Because if you look back, what has haunted them in their greatest moments? Zay Flowers reaching out trying to reach out over the goal line in the AFC Championship. L'Jarius Sneed knocking the ball out. Lamar against the Bills, either in week 1 or in the playoffs years prior, where Von Miller gets back there, knocks the ball out of his hand in the backfield. Derrick Henry's fumble in week 1 last year. I would rather take all the turnovers off the page and deal with backups due to injuries than the other side. But if you have a different opinion, 615-737-1045, we'd love to hear from you, because I'm not always right. I'm not right about everything. That's just my opinion. I bet you guys have a different one, and we'd love to hear it.
So Zach cited if Derrick Henry hadn't gone down in that 2021 season, the 2021 season that ended in the divisional round of the AFC playoffs with Ryan Tannehill throwing 3 interceptions, where the Titans sacked Joe Burrow, 9 times?
First hit of the game, baby.
Okay.
First hit of the game, baby.
Why don't you calm down? Why don't you calm down over there?
Oh, there's an out. Dang it. My game's catching up. Oh, if I ain't on it, it's got it. Okay, hold on. There's an out.
You got on base at the top of the third.
Hey, dude, we got a hit against the best win getter in college baseball since 2020. I'll take it.
So that I have a hard time with Zach's logic there, citing Derrick Henry going down in 2021, where the thing that ended the Titans season was not Derrick Henry being injured.
That wasn't his only example.
Okay.
He's probably listening to this driving in, and he'll be able to come in and debate his argument articulately.
Probably get a text from him soon.
But it was a number of things he cited that I wasn't. I was halfway producing the show, halfway listening to him, so I only got half of what he was saying.
It'd be more interesting if I disagreed with you and we could have a debate about it, but I agree with you and Robert Saleh 100%, especially for a team like the Titans. Obviously, the Titans have had issues filling out their rosters over the last few years. The Titans have had issues fielding a roster that is in the top half of the National Football League from a pure talent profile perspective. So great to not have any injuries, but at the same time, if you've got a roster that is subpar and you turn off the injuries, you can still have a roster that is subpar and it's turning the ball over, even if they're fully healthy. But if you turn off the turnovers and you can tell me, yes, so-and-so and so-and-so will get injured, but their replacement will come in and will not cost us the game in this fashion, I'll sign up for it 10 times out of 10. 615-737-1045. Zach in Goodlettsville. This is our Zach, I assume.
Just a Zach. I don't. Oh, you mean... Oh, that thought never crossed my mind. Is this Zach Lyons?
Hello, Zachary.
Hello. I'd like to clarify that I was not the one who suggested the Derrick Henry thing. I suggested Marcus in 2016. I believe is either Joseph or Ross who brought up Derrick Henry. And I said, yeah, I guess you can make that argument. My argument was it'd probably be different every season for every iteration of the team almost.
You could, in hindsight, go back and say, well, no, this team would have been better off without the turnovers. This team would have been better off without the injuries. But so you still would say, sight unseen, no information on who gets hurt, how many turnovers happen in that particular season. Like if you were to turn one off for these Titans in 2026, you would still turn off injuries instead of turnovers.
Absolutely. Here's why. Because this offensive line stinks. And if I can guarantee Cam Ward stays healthy for this year, that is a huge thing for this. Because, Cam Ward can't go through a Marcus season where he's, doing really well, then he gets injured, and then it totally derails his whole career. So here's the thing about no turnovers. No turnovers does not guarantee you score points. It does not guarantee you don't get sacked or you don't get you don't have to punt. It doesn't guarantee anything. It doesn't even guarantee that you generate turnovers. And that's the biggest thing. Everybody cites low turnovers, but it's really high turnover differential. You have to have a high turnover differential to reach that, magical percentage number that everybody's talking about. Because the Titans were 0-3 last year, winning the turnover battle and having a good turnover differential, and they were 1-5.
He was making too many good points against our argument. We had to
Shut up.
We had to play the music.
You nerd.
Get out of here with your facts and your numbers.
How dare you bring nuance into the conversation?
Zach Lyons of Cover 2. You can hear him from 1 to 3 coming up alongside Blaine Bishop, I assume on his drive in from Goodlettsville. 60 seconds on the clock, Zach. That's the rule. But that is, okay, that's a good case.
No!
Oh, what happened? What happened? Was it a double play? Was it a double play? We got a double play to end the half inning? Is that what happened?
Leave it to runners stranded on base.
We're going to the bottom of the third, tied 0-0.
That's what we do. Might as well call us the ECU castaways, the way we leave men stranded.
615-737-1045.
God,
Okay.
I hate this stupid game. I don't even care about this stupid sport.
Get ready to learn hot chicken, buddy. That's a good argument by Zach. It's a good argument by Zach. And the reality is, either one can completely derail your season. We understand this. But I think on aggregate, in the grand scheme of things, okay, saying that for one season is one thing, but what if you were to turn off turnovers or injuries for your specific team for the rest of time? Would that change the discussion? Because yes, if Cam Ward were to get injured this year, like throw it out the window, right? God forbid, nothing would derail the Titans season. Nothing would derail us from learning more about the Titans' trajectory than not getting to see Cam Ward at 100% in his sophomore season in the NFL. But on aggregate, I think turnovers cripple teams more than injuries cripple teams, right? Robert, would you agree with that? Like, let's say contending teams that fall short of the ultimate goal, would you say on aggregate they are hampered more by injuries or by turnovers?
Ooh, that's tough.
When you look back at the Bills coming up short.
See, I'm thinking
every
about the
year
49ers.
of the Josh Allen era. The Niners, who are the case for injuries. The Ravens, who, to your point, are the case for turnovers. Buffalo turned it over, 6 times in Denver? In that divisional round matchup?
I can't even think about it. Everybody in the chat's just roasting me for having to eat this chicken, dude. I'm done. I'm over with this.
Okay, all right. Well, calm down. It's scoreless in the bottom
I
of
have
the
no
third inning.
SIGs.
You leave 2 runners on base, and you can't.
Dude, I don't like feeling like this because I know I'm going to be stuck in this nominal state of being until 3:30 because baseball games last. It's a dumb sport. It's just stupid. I don't know how anybody watches this on a regular basis.
It is 0-0. Nobody has scored a run yet.
Yeah.
Between Tennessee and ECU.
It's almost as bad as soccer. Like, there ain't nobody doing nothing.
All right, calm down.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean that, baby. when I get angry, I just say things. I'm sorry. I'm working on it.
What do we have to give away for Friday Fire?
We got 2 more tickets to the Rock the South, which features performances by Jason Aldean, Riley Green, Zach Topp, Jesse Murph, Big X the Plug, Travis Tritt, for a 3-day affair at the Fields in Decatur, Alabama. Rock the South, 2 GA Plus tickets to go see that. If you could tell us what your Friday Fire is.
That's all you got to do. Tell us what made you feel good, the most positive story you have seen this week. It can be in sports, it can be in life. 615-737-1045. The best submission is headed to Rock the South with a killer lineup. Friday Fire's next. 615-737-1045 is how you jump in. This is Friday Fire. Tell us what made you feel good this week. Best submission headed to the Rock the South Festival. Jason Aldean, Big X The Plug, Zach Top, a litany of stars to watch. So, best submission will get the tickets. We are fueled, of course, by Hattie B's Hot Chicken that Robert is going to know very well Monday when Tennessee beats East Carolina in the Chapel Hill Regional.
Full count to get out of the 3. Shut up. You don't want to keep running that yip. Don't you jinx. Who the hell? Jay Abernathy. Oh, Abernathy. Oh, the Pilgrim, the Pioneer. Don't jinx him talking all that junk.
Scoreless after 3 between Tennessee and ECU.
And he hit 6 ball as a foul ball to stay alive. God, this is the dumbest.
Oh, no,
sport.
2 outs. Still not done with the bottom of the 3rd.
This is a
full count.
Dumb sport.
So Robert or myself will have to eat a full Shut the Cluck Up tender in studio Monday at the beginning of the show, depending on who loses this matchup. By the way, before we get to our Friday Fire, Ty wins the argument for turnovers. Would you rather turn off turnovers or injuries for a whole season?
Bang!
Got him out.
Sit him down.
All right, scoreless after 3. It's fine. It's fine. Ty says, I'm turning off turnovers and I'm bringing in Jameis Winston. That's fantastic. That wins the debate right there. Bring in, what was the year Jameis had, like 30 and 30? If you go back to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers early in Jameis Winston's career in Tampa, 30 touchdowns to 30 interceptions. That was...
He had like 5,000 passing yards that year, too.
Oh, it was crazy. 2019. 5,000 passing yards. Led the league in attempts, yards, and interceptions. So he had 33 touchdowns to 30 picks. If you turned off turnovers for Jameis that season, Bucs are in the Super Bowl, man.
Yeah, if you make that a 30 touchdown, 0 interception season, are you kidding me?
Take away the interceptions every time. 615-737-1045. My Friday Fire is the Nashville community, specifically the candidates, the individuals that stepped up throughout the course of this past year for Blood Cancer United. I had the privilege last night of, I think it's 4 straight years now, of emceeing Leukemia and Lymphoma Society's, otherwise known as Blood Cancer United's, grand finale for the Visionaries of the Year event out at Geodis Park. Very cool to be out there and play a very, very tiny part in seeing the impact that these people make as they come together in their community, raising money to fight blood cancer. And the total last night got over $215,000. It more than doubled the total that we had from last year's grand finale Visionaries of the Year event. So that is my Friday Fire, to see those specific people coming together in their community in that way, as everybody, whether they're a survivor, whether they have a loved one that's been affected by blood cancer, it has affected all of us in one way or another, right? And to see that sort of impact be made last night firsthand was awesome. That's my Friday Fire. And by the way, it's $215,000 and counting, because you can still go donate if you go to llsvisionaries.org. There is a button at the top right that says donate, and you can join the fight against blood cancer. So shout out to everybody over at Leukemia and Lymphoma Society. Appreciate them having me. Just incredible work that was done throughout the course of the year and last night. Again, llsvisionaries.org is where you go to donate.
All right, so what I learned from that is if you want your organization to make money in their philanthropic efforts, you need to have Lucas be your speaker of the house.
Sure.
He needs to be the guy to
do it.
Go up there and wave your banner. I'm sure you looked very good in your suit. Oh, my God. Dude,
what's your Friday Fire?
Can we just get a stinking run? I can't. What do I have to be happy about? Oh, I'll tell you exactly what I have to be happy about. In the Robert Saleh presser, I was a little off-put that Saleh, who is not really a crunchy language kind of guy, dropped a couple S-bombs in that. But, you know, we're pretty tame around here. We don't really have to deal with a lot of athletes speaking their mind and using words that are not FCC safe. So my Friday Fire is that Javon Kinlaw, defensive tackle for the Commanders, is not a Tennessee Titan, because in this sound clip, I'm literally sweating bullets right now that I missed one of the expletives he dropped. Try to count them. Count along with us in the break. How many times did Javon Kinlaw curse when discussing what he's excited about in joining the Commanders?
Yeah, we got some motherfuckers now. Excuse my language, but yeah, Owe, he can go. Charles Omenihu can go. Caleb Vaughn can go. Tim Settle, he can go. Who else am I missing? Then we got D. Wise back. You already know he can go. We got D.A. coming back. He can go. Jerzon can go. I mean, D-Payne can go. You know, it's going to be exciting, bro. A lot of talent, bro. I'm just excited, bro. I'm super excited.
Yeah, I can tell. You could barely contain your excitement.
How many did you count?
I had 12.
I had 11. Let's go with 12.
Okay. Do you want to hear it again? We can recount.
No, it's okay.
It's like, dude, can you not?
The best part is he cusses that we got some MFers out here, excuse my language, and then proceeds to cuss 11 more times.
Yeah, just keep dropping them.
How long is the clip?
It just in like a 26-second clip.
So a dozen cuss words in less than 30 seconds.
God, dude. And I remember when the 49ers drafted him, they had just traded somebody. Was it Eric Armstead to the Colts? I think that was the trade that happened, and they were like, oh, we're just going to put this guy in there, and he sucked. Oh, what?
Nothing. Just a nice out by you guys. Good catch at the wall.
Wait.
Oh, wait, they were showing something from earlier.
Okay, I was about to say, hold on, because we're batting.
We
don't need to be.
This player,
our own players are sabotaging
This player
us.
that's up at the plate made a nice play at the wall on a fly out earlier.
Okay.
Davin Whitaker.
Okay. Right now in the fourth, 1 out, man on first, 2 strikes, 1 ball, 1 out.
Scoreless game.
Yeah, this is
between Tennessee and ECU.
I just really wish somebody would score. That is in purple.
That's a great submission by you. To apologize for his language and then just continue on that way is phenomenal stuff. 615-737-1045. Cade in Sheville is up first for Friday Fire. Hey, Cade.
Yes, sir. How's it going, fellas?
Fantastic. What you got?
Yeah, I'm excited that the Titans signed all 8 of their draft picks this year. I'm really excited about the future for the Titans, and like y'all said, I'm excited for Cam Ward's sophomore season in the NFL.
Okay. Thanks for the call. Remember to stay on hold for your chance to win the tickets. If you are the winner, if you're on hold, Robert can pick up and give you the tickets. If not, then you lose your chance. So, Cade's just going with general optimism for the Titans. All 8 draft picks are signed. The latest was Keldrick Falk earlier this week. Cam Ward heading into his second season. Gary is on I-40 up next. Hey, Gary.
Hey, buddy. Hey, enjoy listening to you guys. There's not a better story, I think, out there than, and you guys probably heard about it, with Nicole Woods, coach at UNC Wilmington, at the beach, jumps in to save her 8-year-old nephew and literally holds him up while she drowns. And then they bring her back to life. What an unbelievable story with someone that works with young people to be able to jump in and take care of family. She tells you time and time again she's a strong swimmer, but, man, what a story to see someone like that in that type of job, sacrificing herself for family. And it just makes a former coach like me just so excited about the leadership that people have in showing what they can do for young people.
Thanks for the call, Gary. I had not seen this story. So UNC Wilmington's women's basketball head coach, Nicole Woods, almost died after being caught in a rip current. This is, I'm reading from the Associated Press 2 days ago, trying to rescue her 8-year-old nephew during a family beach outing. They were at Wrightsville Beach back on May 21st. Her nephew waded out into the Atlantic. A wave knocked him under the water. Woods said she jumped in to help him, only to have the current start dragging both of them out to sea. She pushed her nephew above the surface so he could breathe before she lost consciousness, and a rescue team pulled them both to shore. They performed CPR on her. They had to use a defibrillator to revive her. She spent at least 24 hours on a ventilator before being able to breathe on her own. It is miraculous that Nicole Woods is still with us, literally saving the life of her young nephew. That, Gary, is a fantastic submission and a tough one to beat. I had not seen that story. That is insane. Patrick in Lebanon is up next. Hey, Patrick.
Hey, guys. I would say the thing that fires me up the most is the helper grant that the Preds got. They got a record-breaking $4 million. It's going to help, I think they said about 1 million people all across Nashville. So it's really cool to see them giving back to our community, and that's my submission.
Thanks for the call, Patrick. Remember to stay on hold for your chance to win the tickets. Yeah, Pred's always doing great work out here in the Middle Tennessee community. He said $4 million on the grant. Great stuff. Anthony in Clarksville is up next. Hey, Anthony.
Hey, yeah, mine is for college sports fandom. Where else can you have Vols fans losing their minds over one guy not showing up from the transfer portal? Got you guys talking college baseball. Might not have followed the whole season and now losing our minds over a regional game.
Thanks for the call. Go ahead.
No, that's it. Just in general.
No, I appreciate the call. Yes, and Tennessee has just sent it to the bottom of the fourth scoreless game.
Are you happy with yourself, dude, beating up on a little school like ECU? Oh, I bet you're so proud of your once proud baseball team. All that's going to happen is you guys are going to get dogged out by North Carolina anyway.
It doesn't matter.
It does matter.
You're gonna be
It
suffering.
does matter. What happens if we're playing again in the rubber match on Monday?
Nothing. Our bet has nothing to do with that.
Sure, but then what happens when you have to get your face back and all of your pitching depth is gone?
I mean, maybe we go double or nothing. Who's to say? Who's to say? Again, it's a scoreless game. Like we're going to the bottom of the fourth inning. Nobody's scored a run.
We have 3 hits.
I mean, you're waving the white flag over here.
Okay. If it gets to, let's make a deal. I will talk to who's y'all's baseball. Who's in the head charge over there?
Josh Elander.
Okay, if we get to the 9th and it gets done to the 9th and we got more hits than y'all, let's just say we won. Is that fair? I feel like that's fair. If it's 0-0 in the 9th and we just say, let's not play extra innings, let's not exert any extra energy, ECU wins if they have more hits.
I don't think so, pal. I don't think so.
So lame.
We have to give the tickets to Gary, right?
Yeah, that was a great submission.
The UNC Wilmington women's basketball coach risking her life to save her nephews. We have someone in the chat, Ronan, says Wilmington, North Carolina is a death trap. Are the waters dangerous out there? That's your neck of the woods.
Yeah, they can be kind of perilous. I mean, they also are known because it's at Wilmington. If you're familiar with the coast of North Carolina, there is an Outer Banks region.
Yeah.
So it's a basically a large land bridge that coats the outside of North Carolina's coast. So the inner coast doesn't really get a lot of shark action, but Wilmington, the Outer Banks, they do because they're the barrier to the Atlantic Ocean. So, I mean, there's shark attacks. The waters can be perilous at times. But Wilmington, as it is, great comedy city, great brewery city, fun place to go. It's actually, I think, like 5th or 6th in North Carolina behind like Charlotte, Raleigh, the Triad as places to move in North Carolina.
Yeah, and the women's basketball coach there is a literal superhero. So, thank you, Gary. Congrats on winning the tickets. Thank you to everybody who participated. Where do the Titans rank across the NFL in terms of the best positional upgrades of the offseason? We'll tell you what one ESPN writer had to say coming up next. 12:02, good afternoon from the Circus Sports at the Mint, Kentucky Downs 104.5 The Zone studio. I'm Lucas Panzica. The college baseball postseason is underway. Tennessee. Hey, now, don't be. Let's do this in a second. Let's do this in a couple minutes before you start turning my mic off. Tennessee up 1-0 over East Carolina in the Chapel Hill Regional, bottom of the fourth inning. Meanwhile, the Women's College World Series are happening in Oklahoma City. The Lady Vols got started with a 6-3 win over Texas. They will face Texas Tech tomorrow at 2:30. Last night in the NBA, the Spurs forced Game 7 in the Western Conference Finals, 118-91. The win over the Thunder. Game 7 happening tomorrow night in OKC, a 7 p.m. tip. The winner faces the Knicks in the NBA Finals. Stanley Cup playoffs tonight, Game 5 in the East. In Raleigh, the Hurricanes lead the Canadians 3-1. Puck drop at 7. Winner faces the Golden Knights in the Stanley Cup final. For all your foundation repairs and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone. Oh, come on. It's the fourth inning. It's a college baseball game. There's like 4 hours left. It's slightly dramatic. How many innings of ECU baseball have you watched in the 2026 season?
Doesn't matter.
What's the over-under? I'm putting the over-under at 0.5 innings.
It doesn't matter. Watched more baseball than I needed to, apparently.
So, for those of you who don't know, welcome back to the show, by the way. We're fueled by Hattie B's Hot Chicken.
Is it welcome? I'm not feeling very welcome right now.
Grand welcome back. Lucas and Robert with you for the next hour. Buck is off at Titans OTAs. I, a Tennessee alum, and Robert, an ECU alum, have a small wager going that the winner, or rather, the loser, of this matchup between Tennessee and ECU in the Chapel Hill Regional as we get underway in the college baseball postseason, the loser has to eat one shut-the-cluck-up chicken tender from Hattie B's right at 10 a.m. on Monday morning and suffer through the show after eating the tender. Now, the good thing is it's going to taste fantastic. And, yes, there will be some pain, but it's like the good kind of pain. So we're really all winners in this situation. But the rest of us, I'm sure, will order
Jesus, dude.
more reasonable. What is that? Oh, what is that? Just lining one right through.
Just lining one right through.
All right, man on first, man on second.
I hope all of y'all volunteers hear this. You, Joseph, Jackson, Brent, Slay, Will, Ramon. I'm surrounded by you heathens. I hope you guys are all very proud of yourselves and happy that you can stomp on the little guy like this. I hope you guys are all proud of yourselves.
Tennessee
I can't
leads.
stand none of y'all. I work here because they pay me. I want y'all to know that. I don't like none of y'all. I don't like any of y'all. I don't even like working here. But I got to make money. I got to be able to put up with the lifestyle that Cheyenne is accustomed to. So I have to work here. I have to listen to y'all. All of you people. I hate all of y'all. I don't like that. I say all that I love you crap is done. I don't love none of y'all no more. You broke it.
Not true.
You broke it. I am broken. I'm a broken man.
1-0 is the score. Blake Grimmer with the solo shot to lead off the bottom of the fourth. Tennessee's got 2 men on, leading 1-0, 1 out as the Vols look to build on this lead. A lot of ball left. A lot of ball. Let's change the subject for the moment. Ben Solak of ESPN ranked his 10 biggest position upgrades of the 2026 NFL offseason. The Titans land in the top 5 at number 4. He has Tennessee Titans wide receivers at number 4, where Carnell Tate and Wan'Dale Robinson come in, and Van Jefferson is on the way out. Ben Solak writes, when your top pick rookie quarterback ends up heavily targeting 2 day 3 rookie receivers, your wide receiver room needs some help. Alec Iomanner, a 4th-rounder, paced the Titans last year with 89 targets, fellow 4th-rounder and special teams ace Chimere Dike had 74 targets, just behind Chigakonkwo's 79. He says both Io Manor and DK showed flashes as playmakers, but neither did enough to emphatically secure a full-time role in the offense. Io Manor struggled with drops. DK was a wonderful returner with great speed, but could not connect with Cam Ward on deep patterns, struggled to break tackles on underneath routes. So he continues, the Titans could not reasonably anticipate development from Ward, who was plenty flashy as a rookie, with this room as it was. They snagged Wan'Dale Robinson, a handy slot maven, he says, for offensive coordinator Brian Dable when he was with the Giants. He does point out Robinson spent a little more time out wide last season, got targeted deeper accordingly. He had 17 deep targets after only 10 total in the 2 previous seasons combined. His blossoming was largely the result of Malik Neighbors' season-long absence, but still good news for the Titans. Robinson can be a 3-level option if need be. He also says, hopefully he'll remain more of a slot player with high volume underneath as Carnell Tate joins as the traditional wide receiver 1 with huge downfield potential. He says Tate looks the part of that traditional WR1 but lacks the bona fides, as of course he was the wide receiver 2 to Jeremiah Smith in Ohio State. Yet that role did give him downfield opportunities on shot plays where his ball tracking and catch radius shined. He is capable of playing the field-stretching Robin to Robinson's Batman, should the Titans end up distributing targets on a game-by-game basis. He wraps up saying there were no major losses in the Titans receiver room. Jefferson had 52 targets on 583 snaps, but his advanced numbers were worse than those of Io Manor and DK. If a healthy Calvin Ridley offers any meaningful contributions, this is suddenly a fairly deep room with a few good bets on a reliable, dangerous wide receiver emerging for Ward. So the Batman and Robin sort of metaphor that he brings up, I feel that's not really how I'm looking at this wide receiver room, Robert. I guess if you were to look at a scenario and say, if a Batman and a Robin were to emerge this season with the Titans receiver, what would be the most likely scenario? Who would be most likely to be Batman and to be Robin, in your mind?
I would hope that targets would indicate that Carnell Tate would be the Batman. And I'm going to go off the board and go out of the typical receiver room, and I'm going to go to Gunnar Helm. I think the middle of the field is where Cam does his best work, and Gunnar Helm played above the rookie standard last year at tight end. Now his barrier of entry is much less. He doesn't have...
You got to double play to get out of the inning.
I don't care, dude.
In the bottom of the fourth. Is
Everybody's
this
just
what,
flying out.
Is this what Cheyenne has to deal with whenever the Ravens don't convert a third down?
No, because the Ravens are good. The Ravens are good. They actually do things that are worth cheering for. All this baseball team does is hit fly outs and swing on third, or watch third strikes just fly by them.
1-0 Tennessee, top of the fifth.
I think Gunnar Helm is going to end up being Robin. I think he's going to end up being the guy that is his safety valve and is going to provide him easy dunk-off plays that are going to get positive yards that are going to make third downs more manageable or help him convert third downs when pressure is high. I would go Gunnar Helm, but I would be open to another submission.
But I think to call somebody a Batman of the offense, like when you think, who's a Robin to Batman? Jordan Addison is Robin to Justin Jefferson's Batman, right? In a more advanced way, T. Higgins, kind of a Robin to Jamar Chase's Batman when they're both at full strength.
He's more like Batman Beyond. He's kind of like a Robin grew up, and Batman is old, and now he's the new Batman.
T. Higgins?
Yeah, so I guess... God, I hate this game.
I mean, Cooper Kupp is in sort of a Robin role to Jackson Smith and Jigba's Batman. So I'm not looking at the Titans' offense regarding the skill positions in that sort of lens. I suppose if you had to say what scenario could set up a Batman and Robin sort of pecking order at wide receiver, I'd probably say the most likely thing would be Carnell Tate, man, just emerging, bursting onto the scene as a rookie wide receiver, developing that connection with Cam Ward, hitting the ground running with it, because I think the more likely scenario is that it's very spread out here with this wide receiver room, that everybody's going to have their role. And similar to last year, not in the lack of production, but in the way that targets, yards were shared. Last year, I could see it carrying over a little bit because I just have a hard time seeing Wan'Dale Robinson, like Solak pointed out. He had his most productive season as a Giant last year, but Malik Neighbors was out of the lineup for the majority of the year. I have a really hard time looking at Calvin Ridley as the Batman of this offense. So Calvin Ridley, an explosive player. We've seen the talent every time we're out there watching training camp. But Calvin Ridley has yet to show that he can be consistent and available for an entire season. It doesn't mean it can't happen, and the Titans will utilize Calvin Ridley this year, of course, when healthy. But I have a hard time really leaning into that confidence with Calvin Ridley right now. But I don't know that the Titans wide receiver room sets up in a Batman versus Robin-esque way, and I think that's okay. This is just a team that's trying to raise its floor, man. I mean, you're just trying to have options for your young quarterback as he heads into his second year. So it's okay to sit here. I don't know who's going to lead the Titans in receiving in 2026, and that's okay. There's a world where it's Carnell Tate. I suppose there's a world where it's Wan'Dale Robinson. And again, Calvin Ridley will have to do something he has not done since he arrived here. But yes, there's a world where Calvin Ridley is as healthy as he's been since he got to Tennessee and is the Titans' leader in receiving. But Ben Solak, very confident in the way the Titans replenish the wide receiver room, although it feels like it's more about what they didn't have last year, right, than what they added this year. You can feel good about the Titans' wide receiver room. I absolutely do. But I guess that is the point of this exercise, right? The top 10 positional upgrades. At number 1, he's got Jeremiah Love and Tyler Algier in the Cardinals running backs room and Michael Carter and Amari DiMercado out. All right, what happened? Okay.
Tied up, baby!
1-1.
Let's go!
1-1. RBI single.
Yeah, y'all thought it was going to be easy. You didn't think it's going to be that easy, did ya?
1-1. Bottom of the 5th.
Come on!
Or is it top of the 5th?
Let's go, baby.
I wish we were going to be on the air when this game ended.
I can't do this. I can't do this. It's like delayed gratification. I got to wait. Any other sport, you know how long it's going to last. You know how long it's going to last. Here, I just got to get drug out in the yard and get the snot beat out of me.
Top of the 5th. 1-1. ECU ties it up.
Come on, baby.
Man on first, 2 outs. Okay.
It ain't over.
All right, Blanco.
It ain't over.
Blanco on 67 pitches.
Yeah, he about to better get them numbers up. Oh,
there you go.
He better get them numbers up. It's going to be a long day. 2 balls in a row. What are you doing, brother? Come on, throw it over the plate, man. Give them something to swing at.
I love the entire purpose of them not having a TV in here was something like this, right?
Well, I'm back in it, baby. I'm back tickled now, so we ain't gonna get nothing done.
So real quick, he's got the Cardinals running backs room as the number 1 upgrade in the NFL. Number 2, he has Raiders linebackers, Quay Walker and Nakobe Dean in case folks forgot, a couple of former Georgia backers. Devin White, Landon Roberts, and Jamal Adams out. I love that. Jamal Adams is out as a Raiders linebacker. Just very casually, Jamal Adams out of the Raiders linebacker room. And the Commanders linebacker turnover with Bobby Wagner out and Leo Chenal and Sonny Styles in. And their top 5 is rounded out with the Browns offensive line overhaul. Did you take any issue with any of Ben Solak's rankings and the biggest upgrades of the NFL offseason?
I didn't. Ben is really on it, man. As far as guys who can talk about it in a digestible way and also give you the nuts and bolts of it, he's pretty spot on. I love the stuff that he does. Top of the 5th? Is that where we're at now? Top of the 6th, 1-1.
No, top of the 5th.
No, we just got out. Oh, you're bottom of the 5th.
Headed to the bottom of the 5th.
We are terrible at this.
Tied up at 1.
I could never be a daggum baseball dude.
615-737-1045 is how you jump in. Trey Wallace is driving back from Destin as we speak. He has been boots on the ground at SEC spring meetings. And if I'm not mistaken, Robert, he just got off the phone for an interview with Ted Cruz because that's where we're at in college sports. So a lot to cover with Trey Wallace of Outkick coming up next.
The Guaranteed Offer is the simplest, least stressful way to sell your home. You go to our website, you fill out a quick form, we set an appointment, we bring you an all-cash offer. Literally, there's no lockbox on the front of your house, there's no showings, we pay all cash, we close in as little as 21 days, stress-free. We've helped thousands of homeowners just like you sell your home the hassle-free way with the Guaranteed Offer from Mark Spain Real Estate.
This is a different court, Blair.
Same result, Slay.
Oh, okay, Blair. See, that's Tyler Tanner. See, Tyler Tanner's in the house now.
Let's see what you got. Jerry's out, Blair.
Blair, come on. Okay, Blair, just come sit down. Come on, Blair. Blair, stop. You're going to get hurt. Blair, get off the court. That's enough.
What's the verdict, Blair? The courtroom is where I play ball.
Boy, Durham, injury law. And that ain't got no rules.
Welcome back to the show, fueled by Hattie B's Hot Chicken. Much to discuss from the conversations that took place down in Destin at SEC spring meetings throughout the course of this week. Those have wrapped up. Also, new details from VolQuest on how Tennessee football has structured Chaz Coleman's income on his NIL deal that we'll tell you about here in just a few minutes. Trey Wallace set to join us via Outkick. He is driving back from Destin as we speak. But first, we did Friday Fire early, but always more room for some more positivity. 615-737-1045. Cameron in Kentucky's up next. Hey, Cameron.
What's up, fellas? How are y'all?
Good, man. What you got?
I've got two things. I'll do rapid fire real quick. The first thing is I haven't got to listen to the Friday Fire from today, but if nobody brought up the Mia Williams, Jason Williams' daughter, where she played at Florida and transferred to Texas Tech, and the hell of a series they just had, and Texas Tech ended up surpassing them. It was great. You guys need to look into that if you haven't. But the second thing is, and this is just because I'm a Kentucky fan and I zoned out of college football for the past 2 years, I think Nick Singleton, our new running back, I think he is going to be phenomenal. I just kind of did a deep dive in him because I'm doing the whole Friday remote thing and just kind of zoned out from work. And I got to say, man, he is one heck of a steal that Mike Borgonzi got in the draft. But I just kind of will throw that out there. I think he'll be a starter by next year as long as he stays healthy. But I'll hang up and listen to you guys.
Thanks for the call, Cameron. Yeah, we had the discussion a couple weeks ago, Robert and I. There's a world where we're going into 2027 with Nick Singleton being viewed as the Titans' primary back, right? Depending on what the Titans choose to do with Tony Pollard at the end of his contract, what Tyjae Spears shows in 2026. Again, certain things have to happen, but if Nick Singleton can rediscover the trajectory he was on in his second to last year at Penn State, then that could be a very good thing for the Titans running back room. Robert Saleh said today he's healthy or getting closer to full team activities coming off that foot injury from the Senior Bowl. Meanwhile, Trey Wallace is making his way back from Destin, SEC spring meetings, college football insider, political correspondent of Outkick. He joins us now on 104.5 The Zone. Hello, my friend.
Hello there, buddy. How are you?
Doing all right. Okay. You're coming off a more interesting week than we are, most certainly, chatting with SEC head coaches, Commissioner Greg Sankey, and senators that are working to save college sports. Trey, what can you tell us about your latest work that you've been doing this week?
It has been one heck of a week, man. It is from presidents and ADs expressing their feelings about an expansion of a playoff to CBA, to Greg Sankey talking about, pooling media rights, which essentially came the same day that Ted Cruz and Maria Cantwell, both how to think sports or protect college sports.
All right. Well, I think we got you now, Trey. We lost you there for a bit.
No, I'm sorry if you did. My apologies. I think it's, coming off an interview I just did with Senator Ted Cruz to speak about this, Lucas, and get a timeline. There were a few things that I needed cleared up a little bit. I think a lot of people did, the Lane Kiffin.
All right, maybe we call Trey back here in a little bit, because I do want to hear about his conversation with Ted Cruz, part of this bipartisan bill that just came through, the Save College Sports Act. So we'll try it one more time here, Trey. Let's see what we got. All right, maybe we'll try to call Trey back here in a little bit and get him on the line. So Trey Wallace of Outkick, there's a few things there. So not only do you have the college football playoff discussion, which going into spring meetings, you thought was going to rule the roost. It felt like expanding the playoff, whether it be to 16 or 24 teams, was going to be the hottest topic of the week. And I suppose you could say it ended up being that, but then the Save College Sports Act gets introduced, I think, on the second to last day of spring meetings. You've got Pete Golding talking about Lane Kiffin comments. You've got Steve Sarkisian addressing his basket weaving comments. You've got Greg Sankey addressing this bill that was put forth in our nation's capital. And we've got Trey Wallace of Outkick. We'll give it one more go. Trey, do we have you?
I think you've got me.
Okay, sure. Got you loud and clear now. Sorry, so what you were saying about your chat with Ted Cruz.
Yeah, no, it's just, I think we all need a little bit of clarification on the whole Lane Kiffin rule as well. I mean, there's a lot of other stuff to talk about, but, the legislation essentially says, hey, look, a school cannot go out and hire a new coach, talk to a new coach, have any kind of interviews with a potential new coach until the season's over. It's like, well, wait a minute. College football playoff actually ends while the transfer portal is still open. So how would that be regulated? How can you not allow a school to go out and look for their new head coach during a time period? Because, guys, I mean, remember when James Franklin was fired at that part of the season? Think of Brian Kelly. Think of Brent Pry. I mean, I could go on and on. So, I did get a little bit of a clarification that, look, you can't, it's not as if you can stop agents from backdoor conversations, but I was also told that this would be on the NCAA. Like if they were to pass legislation on this, Lucas, that it would then give the power to the NCAA to enforce these schools not being able to have contact. Now, let's be honest. In reality, that ain't happening. Jimmy Sexton, Trace Armstrong, you name it, they're going to make calls. They're going to place coaches at different spots. I am interested to see, what happens if the NCAA picks up, if this is all passed, by the way. What happens if they pick up on a conversation that, okay, LSU was interviewing Lane Kiffin? Well, what's a punishment for that? There's a lot of questions to this. And I think that, at the end of the day, do I think it's going to pass? I don't know, man. I'm sitting around like 30% right now. But I think it's just because of everything that's gone on over the last 4 years with Congress and legislation and whatnot. I think the other thing that stood out to me that you'll see later on this afternoon, everybody will, was, I simply asked, hey, can you blame, I asked Senator Cruz this, can you blame Greg Sankey and Tony Petitti for A, not wanting to pool their media rights, but B, in the overall grand scheme of things, doing their jobs and looking out for their conferences? And that's the job of Greg Sankey is to look out for the presidents and chancellors and all the universities. And guess what? Greg Sankey reports to them, not the other way around. And I give credit to Senator Cruz. He's like, no, I can't blame him. We knew that there was going to be pushback from this. And at the end of the day, I do kind of agree on one part, Lucas, about the health of college athletics. I mean, I'm a South Alabama guy, Jaguars. I see that program and I'm like, darn, guess we're going to have to be good in basketball because it ain't coming in football. And so I look around the country and I see other programs that are struggling, and I understand it. I get it. I've talked to these ADs. I know how much money, these schools outside the SEC, the Big Ten, even some of the Big 12 and ACC are losing along with others. And So I understand the need for all of this, and I get it. But at the same time, man, when has this country ever agreed really on anything? I mean, so you if you're telling me that they think it's going to pass, which Senator Cruz told me he wants to have this thing passed, then he wants to have it passed by August. And goodness gracious, man, we can't come to an agreement on CFP expansion or if we're going to add teams or what the portal should look like. So are we really thinking we're going to agree on legislation in 3 months? I just find that hard to believe, unfortunately.
Right. And Trey Wallace of Outkick is with us at Trey Wallace on Twitter. And that's where I am with it, Trey, because college sports fans are just tired of getting their hopes up, man, of something, whether it's legislation or an agreement among conference commissioners or whatever. I think people are tired of getting their hopes up that something's just going to swoop in and fix this thing. And ultimately, Greg Sankey has said a lot about the direction of the sport and taking the overall health of the sport into account. But we understand that when Greg Sankey's at a crossroads where one way is to save the sport overall, but it could come at maybe some costs for the SEC, and the other direction is to preserve what the SEC has and to continue to build on that and maximize that, even if it comes at the cost of all the other conferences in college football. We know what direction he's going to take and what anyone in his position would take. So I have such a hard time wondering how much college sports fans should even really be committing themselves to paying attention to this at this point in the process. Even if you look at all the bullet points of that bill and you're nodding your head like, all right, 1 transfer without penalty. Love that. 5 years of eligibility. No players coming back from professional ranks. That's all well and good. But like the path to getting all of that done, Trey, it almost feels impossible. So I wonder how much time it's even worth spent for fans to truly be diving into this stuff right now.
I'll be honest with you. If you are not into politics and not watching C-SPAN and whatnot, they're going to have a hearing next Wednesday. Now, I am curious. We're going to get the witness list for that hearing, which is so weird to say out loud, probably tomorrow. I'm curious to see who Ted Cruz and Maria Cantwell are going to call to testify about what this could look like and what's going on in college athletics. But if I'm being very blunt with you, Lucas, and I always am, as a college sports fan, I love the baseball that's going on right now. Love basketball, football, lacrosse, women's, college, you name it, whatever. It's hard for me, if I take my reporter hat off, to say, okay, well, I can get into this. All right, I think this can pass. I think this can go through. I think everyone from Democrats to Republicans to moderates, they can all agree on this, and you know what? We're going to save college sports. That's just not reality. I mean, man, we've been talking about the SCORE Act for 4 years, and they couldn't even get that to a vote. So I understand the sentiment from college basketball, football, whatever fans that are like, man, I'm tired of hearing about this. Well, I got news for you. We're also tired of covering it, but it's the current situation where we see the problems that are in college athletics. And again, I go back to schools like MTSU and South Alabama and whatnot. It's not always just about, Tennessee, Alabama, Ohio State, Michigan. It really does trickle down. And I think that, if we're going to be sitting here in 3 years, okay, and, we're going to have some type of competition between, like we can always look towards the NCAA tournament. Like that's easy, but we keep broadening, the space that we're in when it comes to sports. Can one team compete with the other team? There are some SEC teams that can't compete with other SEC teams. And that even comes down to rev share, not even just third-party NIL deals. To me, that's the fascinating part. And I get it. There is a frustration, and because every time a fan gets on social media, Facebook, reads a newspaper, which I hope people still do, or gets online, they're like, oh, okay, another bill. Here we go. Going to get killed. It's not going to pass through, and we're going to be having the same conversation again. I understand it. I agree with it at times. And also on the other side of that, I think, like you had said, there are some good things in this. They are. But also, I go back to the whole point about the SEC and the Big Ten. If they want to survive, meaning have other programs to compete against outside of their own conference, at some point, there's going to have to be a little give and take. And I'm not talking about pooling media rights, because why should the SEC give the Sun Belt or the Mountain West Conference any type of additional revenue because they're putting their name on the card, per se? You know, they're on the list of artists performing, and the SEC is going to join it because it's going to make everyone else, and you're going to sell more tickets for the lower tier artists. I don't know if that's on the SEC, but I would say that if they want to survive in this area, and AKA meaning that it's not just going to be, you know, Ohio State in Alabama battling out every weekend. We're not just going to get Big Ten SEC matchups. Like, you got to figure out something, because we are getting to a point, man, where these schools are losing so much money that you can't keep up anymore. You know, I had and I'll wrap this part of the question up. When I went back down to Mobile recently, and I had a conversation with a University of South Alabama Board of Trustee member. And he was like, man, I really wish that we could just have a group of 6 playoff and not have to worry about the CFP every single year and the ramifications that come with not even being in the conversation by November 1st. Like, I feel that. I understand that. And so that's why I think there are just so many dividing scenarios in all of this, Lucas, that, you know what, man, at some point, everyone's going to have to meet in the middle. You don't have to agree on everything. You don't have to agree to share your ESPN or your Fox money, but there are other things that you can agree to that can help college athletics.
Trey Wallace is with us. So to wrap up this portion of the conversation, Trey, what do you feel, what feels more likely to you? I'll put it that way, in the long term. The SEC/Big 12 splitting off, doing their own thing, whether that's coming together or individually, or that we have one set of rules that the entire sport of college football falls under. What does your gut tell you is more likely as we look way down the road?
Yeah, I was going to give you a short-term answer, because I think the SEC and the Big Ten are about to start governing themselves. I think that that's going to come, because here's the reason why. They're going to have, they were talking about it all week, Lucas. How can we enforce our own rules within our own conference? You know, does that include like a CBA with collective bargaining down the road? Who knows? But they talked about it a lot this week. I think you're going to get to a point, I think you're going to see it around midsummer when it comes to the SEC, where they're going to have to say, you know what? We can't rely on Congress, which, by the way, I don't blame them. We have to figure out a way to govern ourselves. I don't see right now, as we sit here towards the end of May, I say this, that could change next week. I don't see the Big Ten and the SEC just breaking off, because what does that really do for college athletics? It doesn't do anything. I don't want to watch the AFC and the NFC battling it out in college football. I just don't. I like the parity. I do. You know, like we've been talking about Texas Tech and Texas over the last 24 hours. I'd like to see that matchup now. They're building that bad boy up. Feels like it should be on a WrestleMania card. Sure, give me that. That wouldn't be around in the future. If you're going to have some type of breakaway, you can't form a super league per se, but what can happen, and I think a lot of people aren't talking about this, is if the SEC wanted to, and if the other teams had agreed to it, the SEC could go out and just take, okay, Clemson, Florida State, North Carolina, Virginia, you want to come to the SEC? Okay, cool. And then the Big Ten comes in, takes Miami, NC State, I don't know, Wake Forest, you name it, and then that's how you split off. Like, you know, that could be something down the road is what I'm getting at, because essentially if you can't form a super league, you got to go out and figure out more teams that you can add. And so I do feel like that you're going to see conferences try to start governing themselves, or at least get it into play where if they have to enact it, they can just start doing it, because there's no sure thing when it comes to Congress. And we could be sitting here on August, and I could be sitting on an interview with you, and they're in recess, and then they got to worry about midterms and elections and whatnot, and we're not having this conversation again for another year and a half. That's the problem right now when it comes to all this that's going on, especially with the SEC and Big Ten.
Lot to wrap the head around. In other conversations that took place this week in Destin, Trey, feels like there was next to no progress in terms of getting any sort of consensus on where SEC coaches and ADs stand in terms of the college football playoff. Many coaches, I loved Mike Elko joking, I want a 40-team playoff. Obviously we're all working here in our own self-interest. So there's just conflict of interest all over the place here with this big mess that is college sports at the moment. Got Pete Golding cracking jokes about the Lane Kiffin situation. What to you, outside of, the general discourse about the state of college sports and how it relates to what's happening in Congress, outside of that portion of things, what stuck out to you most this week?
Yeah, to be honest with you, I think it comes down to what scheduling, maybe looks like in the future. It was obvious that folks, and we knew this going in, coaches, athletic directors, presidents, they were not too happy that they moved to a 9-game conference schedule, but didn't have CFP expansion done. That part was made crystal clear by a number of coaches and ADs this week. I think that, even outside the SEC, I'll go outside the SEC for a minute. You have Big 12 meetings yesterday, and lost in the whole Steve Sarkisian, Joey Maguire, WrestleMania build was the fact that Joey Maguire came out and said, I think the best thing for Brendan Sorsby is to come back and play football. Yes, he'll take a penalty, but, that should only be maybe 2 games and whatnot. Like, that's the other story that's going on right now is we can talk about Texas Tech, and Texas all along. I mean, whatever, till we're blue in the face. But Texas Tech's probably not going to have their quarterback for this season. You're going to see that go to court over the next 10 days. Curious to see what a judge does there. I would hope that he doesn't grant an injunction, and that's nothing against Brendan Sorsby. I'm just talking about for the integrity of college athletics. Like, I don't see how you can go against the NCAA rules of not being able to bet on your own football team. But again, who knows? That's what happens with injunctions. And then, just kind of getting back into the SEC a little bit. I tell you, that Pete Golding, he knows how to just handle the situation. Like, he was just sitting down there laid back talking to us saying, you know what, lane's lane. There's a professional lane, and then there's sometimes a lane where I got to get on his rear end. And it's fascinating to see, Golding handle all of that, along with, the Ole Miss administration. And, I know a couple of headlines popped up and about Ole Miss and this tampering situation, the case with Clemson. I'm telling you, like, if Ole Miss has to, they don't want to. But they could put others on blast when it comes to tampering and force the NCAA into maybe 10 or 15 more investigations on top of what's going on with Luke Varelli, Clemson, Dabo, and Ole Miss. So just a few things that stood out to me, along with the whole Cam Coleman situation that's going on at Tennessee, which Josh Heupel said that, it's a personal matter. We're handling it. So he's essentially towing the company line with knowing what to say, but that is a complicated situation as well. So, yeah, just a few tidbits there for you, buddy.
And then last thing for you, Trey, another complicated situation is this Chaz Coleman deal at Tennessee.
Yeah.
Now, VolQuest has done some reporting on this where there's at least some clarity that Coleman was dealing with what he thought, this is from Austin Price, were concussion problems that date back to the 2025 season where he missed the month of November. Feels like that maybe is what plagued him in the spring, what held him out. And that Tennessee and its NIL operations, according to VolQuest, met with Coleman and his family and agreed to restructure his deal and backload it to incentivize his return, but he's not present currently at summer workouts, according to Pete Nakos. The conversation for us today has been, is this coincidence after coincidence that now this feels like 3 of these sort of situations in a year and a half, Trey, with the Nico divorce, with the Boo Carter stuff last year, and now with the Chaz Coleman stuff. Is that fair to string those together? Because it doesn't feel like any other high-profile programs are dealing with similar scenarios with high-profile players this consistently.
I think the Nico thing was kind of one of its own, to be honest with you. Nico had some bad representation around him telling him what to do. So I don't put all of that on Nico. And that's not a cop-out, by the way. I'm not giving Nico a cop-out for what happened. You can't not show up, But he had some folks around him that did not help the matter one bit. At times, that felt more like a money grab. The Boo Carter situation, I mean, there was a list. He essentially got on the bad side of the Tennessee and didn't want to face the music. I think that's the best way to put it. Even though he came back and whatnot, you know what I mean? There were still things that he could have done, and it felt like that final season in Knoxville was just him running through the motions because he figured out over the summer that, oh, wait a minute, I can't transfer out and go to another school right now, so I have to stick with Tennessee. And then Tennessee kind of bited the bullet. Like, okay, we'll just deal with this for a certain period of time. This situation with Coleman, there are certain things I'm not going to get into because of HIPAA violations, and I don't feel like getting sued. VolQuest reported that, hat tip to them. That's fine. But Tennessee, in this case, from a rev share and NIL standpoint, has taken care of themselves where they wouldn't get taken to the cleaners if he never showed back up on campus again. Now, I say all that to say this. These contracts are very complicated nowadays. Some of them have outs. Some of them don't have outs. Meaning, if Tennessee would owe this player this amount of money because he says he was dealing with something, which is the reason why he couldn't come back, essentially would be like, okay, prove it. You know what I mean? Like that's what it would be. I don't think a lawsuit would be filed, but a negotiated sum. It just depends on how far Tennessee wanted to go into the weeds of this. So that's why I think you're seeing Josh Heupel give the benefit of the doubt. It's not because he thinks it's going to work out, or maybe he does think it's going to work out. It's because there's so many different types of little legal layers to this that there are really only certain things he can say. And Josh Heupel has the best interest of his players at heart. You know what I mean? Like, I respect that. But we're in a different era, boys. Like, this is essentially the NFL. Let's just be honest with you. You show up to work, you get paid. That's how it happens. In this case with Tennessee, you kind of painted it, the last couple of years with a number of different players. I would say to that, Tennessee has had success with 60 other players that have signed NIL deals. So, not everything lines up. Not everything works out. And I'm not saying this is or isn't going to work out. I'm just saying you could probably find one apple on every single football team that causes a little bit of drama and maybe presents some problems that you have to figure out your way through. So look, 3 instances in 3 years, that's not that bad compared to what you've been seeing across college sports, and especially, I'll leave you with this, especially the stuff that doesn't get reported. Because if all the instances of craziness involving players holding out or not playing or finding problems in a deal or dealing with stuff once they get to campus, but there's already an NIL agreement, signed and whatnot, if that were the case, dude, I would be writing 18 stories a day. So in this case, I do give Tennessee a little bit of grace here because it's just so rampant in college athletics, man.
Trey Wallace covering a lot of ground as he heads back from Destin of Outkick.com. Look out for his chat with Senator Ted Cruz coming up soon at Trey Wallace on Twitter. Trey, always appreciate the time. Safe travels back.
My man, have a great weekend. Always great to join you guys, and tell Buck to get back in the studio and out of Titans practice. I appreciate it.
We'd rather he not, Trey. We'd rather he just stand over there.
I know.
Yeah.
You're enjoying the empty studio. I get it.
Appreciate it, brother. Talk to you soon.
All right, buddy. Be well.
Trey Wallace, our guest on 104.5 The Zone. Woo, a lot there. And we'll update what's going on with Tennessee and ECU and wrap up the show with some polls coming up next. Bottom of the 6, 1-1 still the score. Tennessee and ECU tied up. Falls at the plate with 2 down. It's getting very interesting in the Chapel Hill Regional. Interesting here in the studio for us. Robert, an ECU alum. Myself, a Tennessee alum. The loser will eat an entire Hattie B's Shut the Cluck Up chicken tender, the highest heat level on offer at Hattie B's. By the way, you can go to Hattie B's and you do not have to eat Shut the Cluck Up. If you want to, more power to you. And by the way, all Shut the Cluck Up orders, a portion of them, go to a local charity. So swing by any one of Hattie B's local locations and get yourself some lunch today. Melrose, Midtown, Charlotte Ave, coming soon to East Nashville. That spot's looking very, very cool. Robert, I'm not sure how your little Pirates did not score a run here in the top of the 6th inning.
Yeah, had a guy on second, went from first to second, stole it, then a good base hit. Got to put a guy on first, but he tried to round third, a little bit behind, and was called out at the plate. Really lengthy reviews today.
Yes.
In this game. They are leaving no chance to the review.
Yeah, it's the bottom of the 6th, and there's probably like 3 hours left in this game.
Isn't it the top of the 7th now? Didn't we shut you guys down?
Yes.
In order?
Tennessee just went 1, 2, 3. And
yeah.
Top of the 7th, 1-1.
Yeah. When is this Blanco dude going to get the hell off the mound? He's at like 80-something pitches.
He's having a good game.
We get it, dude. We get it. You're good at pitching. I told you in the break, I don't know how athletes keep their cool. We can always be like, oh, dude, come on, the game's on the line. Why are you acting like that? But I would be the player that people would be going, hey, dude, the game's on the line. Why are you acting like that? I told you that it would be really hard for me if I knew I was going to get thrown out at first not to just clobber the first baseman. Like, just completely decleat him. Like, ankles above his head, decleat him. I want him to do a full moonsault from my contact. And by the way, every time they pan to your fans, you guys are so ugly. You might have the ugliest fan base in college sports. Just disgusting looking people.
All right.
The only way it could be worse is if Dolly Parton sang the national anthem to this song.
What I would give to go back there and cut your mic off.
Was that too far?
It's too far. You know how to push buttons. I'll give you that. I'll give you that.
Yeah, fumble that ball, buddy. Base hit.
Let's do some polls and get out of here.
Okay. Hold on, baby. 1 second. I got you. The polls brought to you by Two Rivers Ford, the South's most trusted dealer. Where did the Titans make the biggest upgrade this offseason? At wide receiver, edge, cornerback, or head coach? We actually have a split tie on this. 38.9% to both the wide receiver and head coach positions.
Huh. Interesting. I understand fans voting head coach. I still think we need to learn more about Robert Saleh as a head coach. We understand he is an elite defensive mind in the NFL. He is getting his second opportunity, and his first was at a very, very toxic situation. But given what we don't quite know yet about Saleh as a head coach, I think I'd say receiver, but there are questions there too. Carnell Tate's a rookie that we haven't seen play football. Wan'Dale Robinson's in a new setting. Interesting question, but I think wide receiver and head coach are the top two answers one way or another.
What is your preferred CFP? 12, 16, or 24? 85.7% of the audience went with 12.
I like where we're at. I think we're riding a good line right now, and I'd love some more adjustments. I don't know that we need to have a situation where there's multiple group of five teams playing in the college football playoff like there were last year. Why? What happened?
Double play. Hit right to the bag.
Inning over. Yeah, I think 12 is my preferred college football playoff. Coming out of SEC spring meetings, they don't seem to have anywhere close to a preferred college football playoff.
Inning is not over. Who wins Game 7, Spurs or Thunder? 75% of the audience went with the Thunder.
Yeah, I think the experience wins out at home for Game 7. I think it'll be Thunder Knicks.
What's the best breakfast meat? Sausage, country ham, or bacon? 50% of the audience went with bacon.
I cannot believe the lack of votes for country ham.
That's where I put mine at.
Country ham's the best breakfast meat.
Agreed.
Like, I love bacon. I love a good sausage patty, sausage link. I don't think it's even close, Bert. I don't think it's even close.
If you're going with a salty meat and you don't pick country ham, you're doing it wrong.
Yeah.
Our recent off-the-field issues with Vols players a red flag for Josh Heupel. Pretty split on this. 53% say yes, 46% say no.
Trey Wallace doesn't think so. I think it's reasonable to have that feeling, right? As a Tennessee fan, and you just see these situations keep happening, even if they are both singular and one-offs in a way. But we'll see what happens here with Chaz Coleman, if they can come to a resolution and bring him back to the practice field here in the coming days and weeks.
And we'll see what happens on Monday when this game is over.
1-1, Tennessee and ECU tied. ECU at the plate, 2 outs, top of the 7th. Will be an interesting finish in the Chapel Hill Regional. So we will see which one of us is suffering come Monday morning. But you will not be suffering for the next 2 hours because Blaine and Zach cover 2 got you covered from 1 to 3.